on Market Boulevard, leading to Labonte's death. Labonte was responding to a suspicious person call when that shooting happened. The case soon will move to the discovery phase. Austin Eller, 95.5 WSB.
There's been an arrest in an Atlanta double shooting that left one man dead, another with injuries. 24-year-old Desmond Feltz is in the Clayton County Jail for the April shooting on Newcastle Street. He's been charged with murder, aggravated assault, and armed robbery. A man has life-threatening injuries after he's hit by two different vehicles in Marietta. Marietta police say this happened on Powder Springs Street near Sandtown Road. The man was crossing the road in a crosswalk, but he did not have the right-of-way. That's when he was hit by those cars. Both drivers stayed on the scene. The man was taken to the hospital. No charges are expected. This is new here at noon. The mayor of Stone Mountain called the media together. She says she wanted to clear her name about some recent banking actions.
Accused of removing two city council members from the city's bank account, Mayor Beverly Jones says she did nothing wrong, that she was called by Truist Bank only to remove former employees from the signature card on the city account.
My purpose and my sole purpose was going there was to take them off the signature card.
Jones says she did not remove current employees and does not know who did. The mayor said she may be facing litigation and was advised not to take questions at the news conference. Lisa Nicholas, 95.5 WSB.
In Clayton County, they're set to get a new charter school in the fall of 2026 to serve special needs students after a 7-2 vote by the school board.
Several parents say the Tapestry Charter School will bring services to a part of Metro Atlanta that is under-resourced. But Clayton County School Board member Sabrina Hill is among the no votes.
I believe our district already offers the same curriculum in addition to more comprehensive services and support for all students, including those with special needs.
She takes issue with the lottery admission system and is concerned that students with more serious disabilities would be excluded. The school district is considering 3 locations for the school. Cheryl Castro, 95.5 WSB.
Do you use TikTok? There are changes starting today. The changes will allow users to customize the experience on the platform and block things that they don't want to see. Stephanie Ramos has more on one of those changes.
Smart keyword filtering. Type in the words you don't want to see, and TikTok's AI will block those and similar terms from your feed.
And you can also manage how often popular topics show up in your feed. Amazon planning to open a sorting center in West Georgia, bringing more than 1,000 new jobs to the state. The 1.6 million square foot facility in Hogansville expected to open in 2027. This will be Amazon's third sorting center in our state. Since 2010, Amazon has created more than 31,000 jobs here in Georgia. President Trump has set a July 4th deadline for when he wants Congress to deliver the tax cut and spending bill to his desk. Now, the legislation is in the hands of the Senate now, where there are divisions over what changes need to be made to the bill. Natalie Brand has more from the White House.
President Trump spent Monday speaking by phone with some of the concerned senators. The White House argues that Republicans who don't support the bill are voting to raise taxes on Americans.
The bill is moving through the Senate under the process known as reconciliation, meaning it only requires a simple majority, not the typical 60-vote threshold, to bypass a filibuster. Let's take a look at the market, see how your investments are working for you here at noon. The Dow is currently up 141 points at 42,447. NASDAQ is up almost a full percent, and the S&P is up 0.5%. It's time now for live team coverage of traffic and weather. Alex Williams in the WSB 24-hour traffic center. He has a look at your lunchtime roads.
And taking a look at the jam cam in Midtown here. Atlanta Fire Rescue on scene, dousing this car fire. 7585 southbound just below 17th Street, only holding a right lane, so it's slowing 75 south as you leave Northside Drive trying to head into Midtown. 85 southbound a little sluggish just south of Georgia 400. Still got that debris cleanup on the west side outer loop. 285 southbound past Martin Luther King Jr. Drive, exit number 9. Had been in 2 right lanes. I think they're down to just 1 right lane block, but nonetheless still slow before Hollowell Parkway. That's also got I-20 eastbound the West Freeway on the brake lights, leaving Riverside Parkway. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
It is time now for Atlanta Radio's only 5-day forecast, sponsored by Shoemate, the official air conditioning of Atlanta. Here's WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards.
Fair skies, but still hazy today as the smoke from the Canadian wildfires continues to move into North Georgia. Little to no impact to our air quality through this afternoon. Staying warm with a high of 86, lows tonight in the mid-60s. Tomorrow, partly cloudy with rain showers moving in from the southeast, high 84. Thursday, partly cloudy with an isolated pop-up shower, high 85. Friday, partly cloudy with scattered afternoon storms, high 88. Saturday, mostly cloudy with scattered rain showers and thunderstorms, highs in the mid-80s.
We'll have more news at 12:30, breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
Okay, friends, it's the 5K Day Bonus Blitz. The noon keyword is cash. Enter the keyword into the WSB Radio app or at WSBRadio.com/cash. You have until 12:30 p.m. to enter the keyword, win $1,000, and the keyword is cash.
Cash rules everything around me. Green, get the money. Dollar bill, yo.
Don't forget, if you get a phone call after 12:30 from a number you don't recognize, answer it. Could be us telling you you won $1,000. The keyword is CASH, cash. Good luck.
Greetings, conversationalists. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here across the United States of America. Thank you for the birthday wishes. Yes, today's the day. We've got to talk about, well, the left is unable to grapple with itself. And this actually is a rather big news. I need to play for you a clip that happened last night on CNN. Maria Cardona is a Democratic partisan. She was on CNN, and she had
Here's what we also have to acknowledge. And I agree that a lot of the college students and the colleges and the leaders did not deal with this as they should have. But we also have to acknowledge, Abby, that the rise of anti-Semitism in the last decade can be correlated with the rise of Donald Trump. And the kind of language that he gives a permission slip for all of this anti-Semitic language to be used, in a way that we really hadn't seen before. The President of the United States, when you have dinner with a neo-Nazi, when you pardon people who are the Oath Keepers and the Proud Boys, whose groups have an ideology that supports anti-Semitism, when you have anti-Semitic tropes that you traffic in and that you amplify on your own social media, where you have followers of millions of people, you cannot give a pass to the President of the United States with the kind of megaphone that he has and say, oh, he has absolutely nothing to do with this.
Okay. This is where the Democrats are headed. Keith Olbermann, I'm not going to play his audio, it was too unhinged, did a rant to his iPhone for social media that Donald Trump was to blame for the attack in Boulder, Colorado. It was actually Joe Biden's administration who allowed that man into the country and allowed him to stay past his visa, allowed him to do all these things, and yet we're supposed to say it's Donald Trump's fault. So here's the thing. I was critical of Trump for a meeting with Nick Fuentes. I was critical of Trump for many things that he did. But, it was Barack Obama who told people to take guns to knife fights. It was Barack Obama who told Hispanic citizens that the Republicans were their enemy. Use the word enemy. It was Barack Obama who told people to get in their neighbors' faces and argue. It was Barack Obama who used the rhetoric of violence, claiming, it's not really violence, it's just words, and then would say, just words? Just words? Do we really want to trace the rise of this violence? They always give Barack Obama a pass. I've been critical of Donald Trump on these things with Fuentes and the like, but Donald Trump's not on college campuses encouraging anti-Semitism. That's the left. What about Ilhan Omar? Abby, what's her name, from CNN last night, trying to give her a pass on this, that, she didn't go to these college campuses and say anti-Semitic things. She just joined the protesters. No. She said the anti-Semitic things on Twitter, all about the Benjamins and the like. AOC and the like, that they've all said these things, and when you take them into account together, they have been emboldening the left. But here's the thing. What the left wants to argue is that it is Donald Trump's fault, while ignoring and excusing it's the people on their side who are being violent. Max Order at The Spectator has a piece, left-wing violence is being normalized. Something has changed in America's psyche. Violence has become more acceptable. It's not just that we've seen 2 attempts and very nearly successful attacks on Donald Trump's life. It's that a worrying number of young Americans cheered on those attempted assassinations and still wish they had succeeded. Since early this year, there's been widespread public support for smashing up Tesla dealerships and for shooting Elon Musk. An unprecedented 10,000 new threats have been made against Senate and congressional members just this year, according to Capitol Police. Applause for the actual murder of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson in December goes on unabated online. His handsome young accused killer, Luigi Mangione, is praised, respected, and even worshipped by a small but growing social media community. Elias Rodriguez, the man accused of killing 2 Israeli embassy officials in Washington on May 21st, had praised Mangione on his social media. Americans always used to prize fighting it out of the ballot box. Now, an apparently psychotic murderer has become a hero for youngsters who imagine he stands for vigilante justice against corporate greed. In early May, a former director of the FBI posed what many observers believe to be a threat to assassinate the president. A picture on Instagram of some shells arranged on the sand to read 8647, along with the caption, "Cool shell formation on my beach walk." James Comey insists his post was innocent, yet to 86 someone is slang for get rid of or kill, and 47 is the number of the current presidency. So it's easy to see why Trump-appointed authorities see the matter differently. Serious acts of violence are still mercifully uncommon, but the response to such acts is significant. Surface tremors that signal powerful tectonic shifts in the civic ground on which America has walked confidently for centuries. The United States has been mostly free from large-scale political violence because the country's been graced by the combination of two remarkable gifts: an ingeniously well-designed democratic system and the proliferation of large-scale civic norms. These mean that the U.S. can paradoxically stay permanently in revolution and change without the bloodshed, which has defined so much of world history. It's more than a historic anomaly. It's been an economic and ethical miracle, but it might not last. Over the last decade, the National Contagion Research Institute has assumed that calls for political violence had come from the far right, and they often have. What we never expected to see was the enormous growth in similar calls emerging from the mainstream left. We undertook a nationwide survey to understand it better and discovered that a breathtaking half of those who identified as politically left-wing agreed that the murder of public figures could be at least somewhat justified. What's more, 56% of them agreed that there could be some justification for killing Trump. Just under half agreed that the same could be said about Elon Musk. Tesla dealerships, too, merit at least some destruction, according to 59% of those surveyed. And so we took a deeper dive into the online networks where so many young people spend much of their time today. We found a massive upsurge in coded endorsements of political violence, as well as users adopting and wielding the name Luigi as a code name for executing executives and wealthy individuals, all gamified with Nintendo memes featuring the character Luigi. It's acceptable, it's normalized, and most strangely, it's increasingly being portrayed as fun. It looks like the dissemination of what scholars call permission structures. Think of them as kind of psychological corridors that can lead people, ego and pride intact, toward radically antisocial or even subversive behavior, such as the murder or attempted murder of public officials and corporate executives. What would drive any American to actually support or condone such violence? It's clear the U.S. healthcare system is unequal, unfair, and in need of reform. But never in my life have any of my friends openly said the public execution of C-suite executives might be acceptable course of action. It's not the America I grew up in. This is happening across the left. What happens is when bad things happen on the right, the president gets excoriated. Maria Cardona on CNN lecturing Donald Trump for having met with anti-Semites. That doesn't happen on the left. Ilhan Omar gets excused. AOC gets excused. Alana Presley gets excused. Rashida Tlaib gets excused. Luigi Mangione is put on a pedestal for murdering an executive. Left-wing groups declare Elias Rodriguez is a political prisoner. Notice how quickly the headlines of the newspapers have moved on from the guy in Colorado who firebombed the Jewish Holocaust survivors. Notice how none of the media has covered the DIA employee who was arrested last week trying to give state secrets away because he doesn't like Donald Trump as president. It's not just the Democrats, it is the media too. The very same media that is now like, oh my God, it turns out there was a cover-up of Joe Biden, is the same media participating in advancing these left-wing ideas. You get license on CNN with Maria Cardona, and then Abby Phillips like, I can't believe you would suggest Ilhan Omar said anti-Semitic things. The bubble in which these people is in is going to get more people murdered. And they don't care. And that's the thing you've got to understand is they don't really care about it. They're okay with the murders because they think it's good. It's like the left-wing environmentalists. They can do everything right, but as long as you mouth breathers with your 5 kids and SUV are out there, we're all going to burn. They're perfectly happy if you get punished or even if you get killed. It's good for the environment if you die. You turn to compost and stop putting out carbon emissions with your wood-burning smoker in your SUV. These people are turning dangerous. The response from the right cannot be to turn dangerous as well. There are some on the right, some of them profess Christ on their lips but want a Christless Christianity. They want to reciprocate. Here's why you can't reciprocate, because if you do, you alienate all the voters who can keep you in power. At some point, the majority of Americans, they're not going to turn violent, but they're going to sit back. You want them on your side. And the way you get them on your side is by showing you're not the left. You condemn the left. You highlight the violence of the left. You protect against the violence of the left, but you yourself don't turn violent against the left. Dylann Roof in Charleston, South Carolina, wanted a race war. He didn't get what he wanted. Increasingly, these anti-Semites from the left, they want an ethnic cleansing of Jews. And the left is increasingly giving them what they wanted. It's notable that these right-wing white supremacists, as the left would define them, they didn't join in what Dylann Roof did after the murders in South Carolina. But you're seeing an increasing number of progressive anti-Semites join in the killing. And you're seeing an increasing number of voices in the media trying to excuse them, say, oh, but Trump, but January 6th. Don't give in to it on the right. There are growing voices on the right who want you to give in to it. Because here's the dirty little secret. There's an undercurrent between the far left and the far right. They want the end of the United States as we know it, and they think they can fight over it, and both of them think they're in the majority, and both of them think they can rewrite the American Constitution in their own image, and they're increasingly vocal on both sides about it. There's a big piece in the New Yorker, not my preferred magazine, but it's about some guy named Yarvin out in San Francisco. He's got the ear of the vice president and others. The guy's a nut job who got bullied in high school and now wants a monarchy in the United States, and actually is advocating for ideas that are being picked up by people on the right to abolish the bureaucracy in the United States and upend the American Constitution, all in the long game of putting a dictator in charge. The guy's an atheist. He's trying to use Christ-like rhetoric to lure Christians into a demented view of the United States because he got swirlied in high school. We are allowing the worst elements of both sides to chart the course of this country. It's going to be necessary for sane people to take it back. The problem is that on the right, you have a lot of sane people who are grounded in faith. And on the left, you have growing secularism and atheism, which is a breeding ground for violence. It's not a secret. It's not some sort of surprise that the most violent murderous regimes on planet Earth were those that were unmoored from religion. The Nazis and the communists, Pol Pot, Mao, Hitler, Stalin, they didn't have God in their heart at all. And I would note that those who did have God in their heart beat them all. You cannot reciprocate violence with violence. What you must do is ostracize it, oust it, purge it, identify it, shun it, vilify it. The problem we have is that too many members of the media are on their side right now. And it will take lots more of us on our side standing up and not only condemning it, but pointing out to the American public the left has turned violent. And those people who may not be with us ideologically will be with us to protect themselves, because they will not want to put violent anti-Semites in charge. There's no eye for an eye here. There's no reciprocity here. There's no becoming like the left. You become like the left, you become the left. Instead, we must ruthlessly and regularly point out how violent the left is becoming. We should support self-defense. We should support law and order. In the 1960s and 70s, the left fell out of power at a time they could have been dominant because of the fall of Richard Nixon, and they did so because in the 70s they turned violent. And the right's response was not to turn violent against them. It was to turn to law and order and crack down. And guess what? We got Dan Bongino and Kash Patel at the FBI. We've got Pete Hegseth in the Defense Department. We've got Pam Bondi in the DOJ. We can crack down with law and order, not respond to violence with violence. We can impose law and order and tell the American people we will keep you safe from these nut jobs on the left. That should be our response.
Have something to say? Hello. Call the show. 1-877-97-ERIC. That's 1-877-973-7425.
1221 Cool Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Car fire doused, and now everything's moving off to the right. 7585 southbound below 17th Street. Really put the extra pressure on 75 south from Howell Mill, but that will start to improve. And a stall on the south side by the airport, 285 eastbound, the outer loop right at I-85, at least a right lane block there, causing some delays. Traffic brought to you by Extreme Experience. Give Dad the ultimate driving experience in a Ferrari, Lamborghini, or Porsche on a real racetrack. Extreme Experience hits Atlanta Motors Sports Park July 10th through 13th. Save 25% for Father's Day. ExtremeExperience.com. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Okay, friends, it's the 5K Day Bonus Blitz. The noon keyword is cash. Enter the keyword into the WSB Radio app or at WSBRadio.com/cash. You have until 12:30 p.m. to enter the keyword, win $1,000, and the keyword is cash.
Cash rules everything around me. Cream, get the money. Dollar bill, yo.
Don't forget, if you get a phone call after 12:30 from a number you don't recognize, answer it. Could be us telling you you won $1,000. The keyword is CASH, cash. Good luck.
Summer heat is no joke. I've trusted Ragsdale with my family's comfort for years, and you should too. Ragsdale now offering up to $1,700 off a brand new Carrier home comfort system. Along with saving big, you'll enjoy Ragsdale's own trusted 15-year parts and labor warranty on your new Carrier system. With over 10,000 reviews and a 4.9 Google rating, you know they take care of their customers. Schedule at ragsdaleair.com or give them a call. Ragsdale, the name I know you can trust.
At Kroger, we've lowered prices on over 1,000 items across our stores so you can save even more. Whether you're shopping in-store or online at Kroger, we've lowered prices on thousands of the items your family wants and needs. And with lower prices, your dollar goes further every time you shop with us. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Right now, 18-ounce packages of Georgia-grown blueberries or 12-ounce packages of raspberries are just $3.49 each with your card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
This is Scott Slade, updating my health story. I get a checkup every year. And last September, my primary care physician was troubled by a suspicious number on my lab work. Well, that led to a diagnosis early enough to give me options, and I'm more optimistic than ever about a good outcome. When we're talking about our health, don't be shy. Level with your providers if you think you have a problem. We all need expert eyes looking us over every so often to spot problems while we still have options to deal with them. That's where virtual imaging can be invaluable. Virtual Imaging's LDCT whole body scan can give you time and options for early treatment, especially for cancer. They can detect tumors as early as precancerous virtually anywhere in your body and aneurysms you may not even know are there. For a limited time, Virtual Imaging is offering their LDCT body scan for only $995 per scan, a $2,495 value. Appointments must be scheduled in June, and there are a limited number of scans available at this price, so a few minimum requirements may apply. I'm living proof that preventive medicine can save lives. So don't put this off, especially with this offer from Virtual Imaging. Call 770-678-SCAN. That's 770-678-SCAN. Or make an appointment by visiting their website at virtualimagingatl.com. That's virtualimagingatl.com. Do it now. Schedule your Virtual Imaging LDCT body scan for only $995 during the month of June, while you still have options.
There's a new optimism in the air, and we think investors like you might have the best year ever. Hello, I'm Brant Frost, founder of First Liberty Building and Loan. Last year, we opened up our First Liberty Notes program to Main Street investors just like you, and the response has been just incredible. Everyday folks from all walks of life have enjoyed 8 to 13% interest rates while helping to fuel the growth of small businesses right here at home. If you're a qualified investor and have a minimum of $25,000, you too could be earning 8 to 13% interest rates. We'd love to have you join our First Liberty family today. We believe this is going to be a special year and a great year. We've got the projects. Now we need partners like you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com and see if our First Liberty notes are right for you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com That's FirstLibertyGA.com.
First Liberty notes are not obligations of or guaranteed by any financial institution and are not secured by any collateral. They are not FDIC insured or guaranteed by any government agency. You could lose money. Purchasers must verify their SEC accredited investor status. Securities are not being offered in any jurisdiction in which it is unlawful.
Is your old garage door a real clunker? Overhead Door Company of Atlanta is paying cash for your clunkers now. They'll haul away your old garage door and give you instant credit towards the new insulated doors. $200 for the first garage door and $100 for each additional door. Get $200 cash for your old entry door too. It's cashed for clunkers now at Overhead Door Company of Atlanta. Convenient, free, in-home estimates. Schedule online at overheaddooratlanta.com or call 404-USA Door.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
And you'll be in the know.
My fellow Americans, welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. I am delighted to have you. The phone number is 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, I would be happy to take your call. I've got to, in all seriousness, I got to praise Jimmy John's. So I was running late today, getting everything done, realized what time it was. So I went to Jimmy John's, ordered a sandwich on their app, got the Club Lulu, which is turkey and bacon, got extra bacon, no tomato. Went over, picked it up, got back to my office, sat down, took a bite of it. I knew it looked a little thin. Took a bite of it. What I got was not bacon extra or turkey extra bacon. What I got was no meat extra lettuce. So literally, I'm eating a sandwich that has mayonnaise and lettuce and nothing else. So I called them. I was like, I don't have time to get back over there before the show starts to get a new sandwich. And I told the manager what happened. He says, I am so sorry. I will drive you over a new sandwich. And God bless them, right before the show started, they came over. So during commercials, I'm trying to eat my lunch. God bless them. It can happen. It can happen. A good customer service can, when a mistake happens, good customer service really sets you apart. They had great customer service. So super, super kind of them to do that. Now, when we come back, we got to talk about this big, beautiful bill in the Senate. I'll take your phone calls as well, but it looks like it is in serious jeopardy as more Republicans in the Senate come forward and say it's a non-starter. They got to get it through the House. It's going to pass, but how's it going to look? We'll discuss that. I got to tell you about Hillsdale College as well, because Hillsdale would absolutely love to have you take one of their classes completely for free. They've got 40 different classes to choose from. If you go to ericforhillsdale.com, E-R-I-C-K, ericforhillsdale.com today, you can sign up, take one of their classes for free. You get a certificate of completion. When you're done, you can go back and take another one. And you don't have a charge for any of them. They've got math, science, economics, philosophy, you name it. Absolutely love Hillsdale College. Love these classes. There were some of the very finest professors at Hillsdale as well. And it's education, not indoctrination. Hillsdale's had this mission since they were started in 1833 to find Americans where they live and provide them real education. And you don't have to pay a penny for this online. So you go to ericforhillsdale.com, sign up. I really recommend the capitalism one. That's a great new class from Hillsdale College you should consider taking. ericforhillsdale.com. Wonderful people, great classes. You never pay a penny. Get a certificate of completion. Start a relationship with Hillsdale College today.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 12:30. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This news sponsored by Jim Ellis Automotive. Atlanta Motor Speedway getting a name change and a corporate sponsor. They're now going to be called Echo Park Speedway. Governor Kemp was at today's announcement in Henry County, and he says,
to me, today is just another feather in our cap, if you will, when you think about the great sports mecca that the state of Georgia is becoming. Obviously, this raceway is a big part of that.
Over 1 million people visit the Speedway every year with an estimated $250 million economic impact. Sunny and hazy, though. Afternoon highs around 86, says WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. Stone Mountain Mayor Beverly Jones said she did nothing wrong and was just doing her job when she asked Truist Bank to remove former employees of the city from the city's bank account.
What kind of mayor would I be if I stood by and let someone go in the bank and write a check on us? I'd be knowing that this could have happened.
She says she did not remove current employees and does not know who did. City Council calling for her resignation. The sheriff who responded to last year's tragic shooting at Appalachia High School in Barrow County has been named Georgia Sheriff of the Year. Barrow County Sheriff Judd Smith has been selected for the award from the Georgia Sheriff's Association. The Barrow County Sheriff's Office saying that Smith has an unmatched dedication to the county and is focused on ensuring the safety and well-being of every citizen and visitor. President Trump's 50% tariffs on steel and aluminum are set to take effect tomorrow. Rachel Scott reporting this comes as the White House is trying to work out some trade deals with countries around the world.
The Trump administration is showing no signs of backing off of these steep and sweeping tariffs, even amid all of these court challenges, arguing that it is disrupting ongoing negotiations. So about 60 days into this trade war now, the U.S. has only announced a deal with one country, the U.K.
And President Trump could speak with China's president at some point this week, according to the White House. It's 12:32.
Hey, it's Scott Slade for FGA Roofing. If your home's exterior could use an updated look, or maybe one of your neighbor's designer roofs has caught your eye, and your current roof has started to show its age, then now's the perfect time to check out FGA Roofing for the latest in architectural shingles, timberland shingles, and more. Slate, tile, wood shake, cedar roofs, FGA has them all. FGA Roofing offers 0% financing for 12 months with your good credit. Get the roof you want now and pay over time. Click firstgaroof.com. That's firstgaroof.com.
This is Andy Harris, president of Coosa Valley Credit Union, inviting you to come see us for your auto loan needs. If you're buying a car or refinancing your current auto loan, at Coosa Valley Credit Union, you'll get one of the lowest interest rates in the market. Now, auto loan rates are as low as 3.99 APR when you open an account with a direct deposit. Coosa Valley Credit Union is local and nearby in Northwest Georgia. Plus, you'll always speak to a real person when dealing with us. That's what we call kinder banking.
Contact 706-235-8551 for more details. Equal Opportunity Lender.
Dave Baker here for Ben Hill Renovations. Look, I know what's important to you when you're having some additions done to your house. You want the work done with quality workmanship, on time, within your budget, and built correctly. That's why I love Ben Hill Renovations, my deck experts. Getting a new deck from Ben Hill Renovations checks all the boxes. They've been building decks for over 60 years. Every project comes with a dedicated project manager and is properly built with future county and city code requirements in mind. Plus, Ben Hill Renovations offers many options, different styles, types of wood, color, and finishes. They can also build screened-in porches, outdoor living areas, multi-story wraparounds, pretty much anything you can imagine Ben Hill Renovations can do. And they're all backed by the Ben Hill Workmanship Warranty. Set up a design consultation or swing by the new Ben Hill Renovations showroom in Douglasville and talk to one of their designers or see them on the web at bhrenovations.com. Ben Hill Renovations, creating raving fans since 1964.
Stay comfortable at home all year long with Jape Services. Hi, this is Daniel Jape, and our team has decades of experience servicing Atlanta's heating and cooling needs, which means you can count on us. We're licensed, insured, and I personally guarantee when you call Jape Services, you'll be treated just like family. Call us 24/7 or book online at japeservices.com. That's JAPE services.com.
Jape Services. Live team coverage of traffic and weather, Alex Williams.
New trouble in DeKalb County. Stalled big rig in the right lane, 285 northbound, the outer loop at I-20 exit 46. That's going to slow the ride before Flat Shoal. Some southbound delays on the inner loop getting past Glenwood Road. And that earlier car fire, 7585 southbound below 17th Street. That's been doused. All lanes are open there, but still seeing the brake light battle heading southbound, trying to make your way down to North Avenue. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Mostly sunny and hazy today, high 86.
More news at 1 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. 95.5 WSB.
He's got the courage to tell you the truth, even when it isn't popular. You're listening to The Eric Erickson Show.
Greetings, conversationalists. It is Eric Erickson here across the fruited plain. The phone number is 877-973-7425. I got to do a little bit of a shameless self-promotion here. 2 years ago, my buddy Braden, who was one of the very first advertisers for this program with his great company, Romega Digital, up in Rome, Georgia. Braden and I were having cigars, sitting around a fire pit at Barnsley Gardens, a great resort near me. And he said, for your 50th birthday, you got all these stories you can't tell on radio. You should find a venue and tell the stories. I'm blaming Braden for this. So it's been mulling in my head, percolating for 2 years. I reached out to the Fox Theater in Atlanta, Georgia, and they said, you know what, we can accommodate you. So I've rented out the Egyptian Ballroom. I don't think I can fill up the 5,000 seats at the main theater, but the Egyptian Ballroom holds 600-700 people. And I put it up online several weeks ago, and we sold out in 6 hours. I didn't even have a chance to mention it on radio. Sold out in 6 hours. So I have been working studiously to uninvite friends who I intended to just comp their tickets. It's a fundraiser for my kids' school, and so I've been telling people, I'll give you a ticket if you make a donation to the school. Had to uninvite a lot of them to free up more tickets, and I haven't mentioned it on social media so that you guys would have the opportunity to buy tickets. So July 12th, doors open 6 p.m. The show starts at 7 p.m. If you would like to come, I don't make a penny from it. It is a fundraiser for my kids' school and also for the Fox Theater. The Fox Theater is one of the most prestigious institutions in the Southeast. They do incredible shows. In fact, I'm thinking of becoming a member. I'm taking my kids to see John Mulaney there later this year. They've got incredible Broadway productions. You should go check them out anyway. You should consider becoming a member. You get great discounts at the Fox. If you're in the Atlanta area, it's worth it. They've got such cool family-friendly things on stage regularly. But if you text the word ENGAGE to 33777. Text the word ENGAGE to 33777. You'll get a link back. You click the link, you buy tickets. Look, they sold out in 6 hours when we did this the first time. So I don't know how quickly they're going to go. But I can tell you, I uninvited a lot of people so we could free up hundreds of seats so that you guys can come. So you text ENGAGE to 33777. Thanks to the Fox Theater for working on this. Y'all should consider being friends of the Fox. And to True Precision, and to Americans for Prosperity, and to Omega Digital, and to Meta for helping pull this off. So it's a fundraiser for my kids' school. My kids' school has been asking me to do one for them. And I was like, you know what? I'll partner with the Fox. I can raise money. The Fox has a great nonprofit as well. And I will tell all the stories that I'm not allowed to tell on radio. Deeply awkward in some cases, embarrassing for me. So there you have it. Text ENGAGE to 33777. Now we must move on to real news. Donald Trump has gone on a tirade against Rand Paul. He went after Thomas Massie. He's gone after Rand Paul now. You know, the through point here is Kentucky. Kentucky is an interesting state in that it is very Republican, yet it has a Democratic governor who got reelected. And Kentucky is rather it's a red state that has a contrarian strain in it. It doesn't align perfectly with the GOP. You've got Rand Paul and Mitch McConnell as the two U.S. senators there. And Rand Paul is having nothing to do with the so-called big, beautiful bill.
Responsible bill. What would you actually cut?
Everywhere. What I've proposed in the past is something called the penny plan, which is a percentage of everything, but it includes all the mandatory spending, all the discretionary spending, and for a long time, 1% cut everywhere would balance. Now it's up to about a 6% cut. So I've offered a budget last year, and I'll offer one again this year that is about 6% of everything. Now, could you do that without cutting people off of Medicare and Social Security? Absolutely. I think there's 6% of inefficiency in both programs, but we did the opposite. In December of last year, Vice President Vance came over and they campaigned and they lobbied to expand Social Security by $100 billion. At that time, I put forward an amendment to gradually raise the age of Social Security. And people say, oh my goodness, it's the third rail. Do you hate old people? And I say, no, I aspire to be an old person. But the thing is, we have to fix these programs. You will have to gradually raise the age, but I got 3 votes. So people in Congress aren't ready for this, but I've been talking about this publicly across the country and in my my state, and people come up and say, well, you're right, it isn't easy, but we will have to raise the age of Medicare and of Social Security. But right now, there is not enough courage in Congress to do that, other than myself and a handful of others.
He's right, and that's a problem. There is no desire to reform, and we used to be able to just cut 1% of the budget out of everything, and we'd balance the budget. Now we got to cut 6% out of everything. Here's a little more from Rand Paul.
Now, we're going to vote on a rescission package. I've been bugging the administration for months. They're going to send us one, a very paltry $9 billion. But this is the country's going to be able to view this. If those Republicans who cannot cut $9 billion, the whole country needs to know who they are and why they can't cut $9 billion. Because if we can't cut $9 billion in foreign aid welfare, the country's doomed. This is $9 billion. This is a rounding error. This should be something we should do every day. But that's coming up also. It's the same people who don't want to touch Medicaid, who don't want to look at Medicare, who don't want to look at Social Security, who don't want to touch any of the entitlements. They're the same people saying they won't cut $9 billion in foreign aid welfare. So push is going to come to shove on this, and I've been pushing hard on the administration. We need to have this vote, and we need to see where the chips lie. And if people can't support any cuts, the whole American public needs to know who they are.
He's not wrong. And I think the thing that the president needs to understand, it's like dealing with Chip Roy. Rand Paul doesn't care if he loses. It's easy to negotiate with men who don't care if they lose. You actually can find some common ground with them, and you know they're straight shooters. Rand Paul recognizes there's a fiscal crisis in this country, and we're going to go off the cliff, and he wants to do something about it. He wants to do something, and he's willing to defy the president and risk the president's wrath to do it. It's the other Republicans who for years have said they're committed to cuts, who, when push comes to shove, they refuse to cut. You talk to a lot of Trump supporters, they say that they want a smaller government. They want to make cuts. The plan, as authored right now, doesn't really offer significant cuts. And frankly, I don't have faith in the estimates of either the CBO or the GOP to know what the actual economic impact of the bill is going to do. However, I do know one thing about what happens if this bill does not get passed. Over to you, Dave McCormick.
Got a month to pass a big, beautiful bill that the House handed you. Senator Thune says, and he's going to be joining me on radio today, we're going to fine-tune it. Okay, you're going to fine-tune it. We're going to work around it. We're going to work with it. But you're not going to just rubber stamp it. And what Donald Trump put on Truth Social yesterday, he says, I call on all my Republican friends in the Senate and House to work as fast as they can to get this bill to my desk by the 4th of July. Senator, what do you want to see changed on this?
Well, the most important thing to recognize is by passing this legislation, we avoid the largest tax increase in history, which would be devastating to working families. A family that makes $50,000 would have a $2,000, $2,500 increase in their taxes. We got to do that. We got to have the funding to secure the border, which the House bill does, and defense. I think we can do more to reduce expenses. You know, the Government Accountability Office says there's $500 billion of waste, fraud, and abuse. We need to make sure illegal immigrants aren't receiving Medicaid. We need to protect Medicaid for the vulnerable people for whom it's for. We need to make sure that working-age men without dependents aren't getting a handout, and they actually have to work to be eligible for Medicaid. These are basic things. These aren't controversial. These are things that most Pennsylvanians and most Americans agree with. I think if we do a little more focus on that, we're going to get a better bill that will pass the House and the Senate.
We hope. That's Dave McCormick, the newest senator from Pennsylvania. If we don't do anything, on January 1st, all of our taxes go up. It would become economically ruinous. Problem is, if we just give away the House in tax cuts, the national debt continues to explode, and we're already reaching the point where our national debt exceeds the gross domestic product of the country. We got to find a way to stimulate the economy. We've got to find a way to grow our economy to reduce the debt to GDP ratio. It's easier to grow the economy than to try to shrink the debt. We got to shrink the debt, but we can shrink it first in terms of GDP. If we shrink it first in terms of GDP, that then boosts the amount of revenue to Washington to balance the budget to then begin to reduce the debt. Just throwing money at the debt doesn't do us any good. But to begin with, there's got to be a will to cut. And I don't think there is a real will to cut. I mean, every single person listening to me right now says we got to cut, we got to cut, we got to cut. But why don't we cut education? Some of you will say yes, but there's a mom out there who is not inclined to cut education because her kids need it. Some of you will say, well, what about Medicare and Medicaid? So I'm all about let's cut Medicare and Medicaid, but there are a lot of people out there who need it. There are some people who need it because they're at home taking care of disabled children or adults and they otherwise can't work and they need the government to help take care of them. There are some who, because of physical or mental disability, can't work. They need the government's help because nobody else is there to help them. I'm not a libertarian. There is a need for a social safety net if we're to love our neighbors. So what do you cut? We cut defense. The left loves to cut defense. China wants us to cut defense. Russia wants us to cut defense. I don't want to cut defense. We cut agriculture. I'm fine with cutting agriculture. The farmers will be mad. The farmers are a powerful constituent. The easiest thing to do is to do a little bit of cutting of everything. That's Rand Paul's solution, is there's a constituency involved in everything you cut. If you cut everything just a little bit, you minimize the outrage, and everybody says, well, this is fair. We understand there's an economic problem. We understand we can't raise everybody's taxes, otherwise we'll all go off the cliff together, so let's just cut a little bit everywhere. It makes a lot of sense. The problem is the GOP has no will to do that, and in losing their will to do that, they're going to lose the plot. The country's headed towards bankruptcy. Scott Bessent on television over the weekend said, we will pay our debts. We will never default. That's easy for him to say. I've got real concerns about our fiscal health, and it's the GOP. And listen, the president does own some of this in that he refuses to make changes to Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. I think a job requirement for able-bodied people getting Medicaid is a good thing. The president seems willing to do that. But Rand Paul's right. We need to restructure Social Security. We need to raise the retirement age of Social Security. I mean, I don't plan on retiring anyway. I don't care. Some people are, but I mean, you can push this off to a degree, understand. Not talking about immediately changing it, but for people who are 40 and under, start making changes now. You actually do reduce the debt to GDP ratio immediately. I just don't know that the leadership in Washington is willing to do that, and we've got to make real changes, or the fiscal situation that we've got coming is going to only get worse to the point that the country is going to risk defaults, and other nations are going to stop using us as a reserve currency, and our military will not be able to be defunded, and we will go off the cliff. Rand Paul is right to be worried about that, and it's good that he is standing up and making the case, even though people are now firing at him, as they were Thomas Massie, for daring to say this is fiscal insanity. I want the tax cuts. I do. But we got to cut more out of Washington as well. On July 1st, the new Basel III banking rules go into effect. They're going to reshape global finance. For decades, gold has been treated as second-class collateral, allowing banks to flood the market with paper gold, leveraged 100 to 1, where you get a paper certificate claiming you own gold, and it's not a 1-to-1 ratio. That's going to end now. Under the new rules, only physically fully allocated gold is going to qualify as Tier 1 collateral. That's on par with cash. Paper gold is going to have to be backed by at least 85% real metal. And notice, paper gold isn't backed 1-to-1, even under the new rules. And the problem is that even right now, most paper gold, it's not backed at all. It's a bad investment. Paper gold, that is the certificates claiming you own gold. Central banks aren't waiting. They're quietly stockpiling physical gold. They have been for months. It's one of the reasons gold price has been going up. On July 6th and 7th, the BRIC nations are gathering, over 40 countries, and they're working for this meeting to figure out how to ditch the dollar as a reserve currency and settle their trades in gold to bypass U.S. banking systems. That's going to cause more stress on the gold market. So act now. Call my friends at Swiss America. Their trusted leader in precious metals, have been for over 40 years. Find out how to protect your savings with real physical gold before these rules take effect. Call or text 800-289-2646. That's 800-289-2646. Mention me. Tell them Eric sent you. When you call or text 800-289-2646, message and data rates may apply.
Honest.
Putting your trust in me to tell you what's going on.
Transparent.
I need you to know this from the bottom of my heart.
Giving you the information without the noise.
My job isn't to tell you what you want to hear, it's to tell you the truth.
It's the Eric Erickson Show.
1251 Cool Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Right lane crash in the cab remains. 285 northbound, the outer loop at I-20, exit 46. You slow from Flat Shoals. And better news down by the airport. Earlier stall, 285 eastbound, the outer loop at I-85 is cleared. That should help out the delays on 285 south, the outer loop leaving Camp Creek Parkway. Traffic brought to you by Georgia Commute Options. With Georgia Commute Options, you can get more out of every mile, earn prizes, gift cards, and other cool deals when you switch from driving alone to a cleaner trip. More at mygco.com. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Listening to 95.5 WSB pays.
No way!
The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz.
That is awesome.
5 chances a day to win $5,000.
Download the WSB app. Your next chance to win is coming up at 2 p.m.
Oh my God.
From 95.5 WSB.
Going back to college, I have sent my father Omaha Steaks for Father's Day because who doesn't love steak? Dads love steak. A recent survey showed 75% of Americans agree there's no better way than to spend Father's Day than grilling with the family. Dads love to grill. I remember some great memories as a kid of my dad grilling. Now I do. And I get him Omaha Steaks, and you can too. Shop omahasteaks.com and give your dad the legendary Heartland quality he deserves. Plus, my listeners get an extra $35 off when you put Eric in, E-R-I-C-K, as your promo code at checkout. Unbelievable quality from Omaha Steaks. I am a longtime gift giver of Omaha Steaks. My dad loves Omaha Steaks. Your dad will too. Go to omahasteaks.com, load up your cart with deliciousness, get $35 off, minimum order required, when you use promo code Eric at checkout. That's omahasteaks.com. You'll get an extra $35 off with promo code Eric at checkout. Your dad will love you for it.
For over 25 years, you've counted on All Four Seasons for garage and entry doors. But we also specialize in replacement windows with a lifetime warranty. Hi, I'm Dan Watkins, owner of All Four Seasons Garage and Entry Doors. Enhance your home's energy efficiency and curb appeal with a wide range of quality window options, backed by unparalleled service and craftsmanship. From garage doors to entry doors to windows, for every opening of your home, we've got you covered. When trust matters, trust us. All the number 4 Seasons Garages.com.
Belinda Skelton here with Atlanta Vision Institute's very own Dr. Ashraf, who is one of the most experienced eye surgeons in the country. Dr. Ashraf, we've all watched the news and the economy is uncertain, but failing eyesight isn't. And if you've held back due to finances, we've got good news for you, don't we?
Yes, Belinda, as you know, our eyesights degrade as we age. And with the laser optics procedure, that resets all of that. And most of my patients go most of the day without glasses. They can even read their phone without glasses. And in terms of the economy, most of these patients, their medical insurance can cover most of the costs. And if it doesn't, we have a lot of good financing options for this procedure.
That's awesome, Dr. Ashraf. I urge you to take the quiz to see if you're a candidate. Go to 2020atlanta.com. That's 2020atlanta.com.
Passion. It's the difference between getting it done and being exceptional. For your home's exterior renovation, hire a company passionate about your project. Trust the Plus. Painting Plus.
Hi, I'm Charlie. My passion for high-quality remodeling began when I started my business at just 15. Now we have grown to the Plus family of businesses. If you hear the Plus, it's us.
If your home's exterior has it, the Plus can improve it. Painting Plus. Siding, gutters, windows, decks, porches, roofing, and more. Trust the Plus. PaintingPlus.com.
WSB Atlanta, WSB BFM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
All the news, weather, and traffic you need. 95.5 WSB. Join Eric's army of activists and let your voice be heard. Text ARMY to 33777.
So, normally on a Tuesday morning, I get up and do radio hits around America. Start with WHIO in Dayton, Ohio. And then I do WDBO in Orlando and several other stations on Tuesdays, then do TV in the evening. And my assistant, who is out this week, she canceled everything so I could sleep late because I love to sleep late. I'm not a morning person. So I slept in till 8:30. And I got up. First of all, you should know I hit my snooze button several times. My kids were making cinnamon rolls for me for my birthday. Got up, got in the shower, got out of the shower, turned on my phone. I had, well, as of right now, 198 text messages. 198 from this morning. Now, they crossed 200. And I've slowly been replying, thank you. Clearly, too many people have my cell phone number. Thank you all for the birthday wish. I really do appreciate it. It's just, I got anxiety. I got right now 468 email messages, 198 text messages, 57 Instagram messages, and I made my way through Twitter. At some point, I just got to figure out how to mark all as read. It's kind of overwhelming. But I do appreciate the well wishes from so many people. I am if you text the word data to 33777, you get my morning piece. And at the top of the morning piece is a link to Help the Persecuted. Every year on my birthday, I ask people to donate to Help the Persecuted. It's also a very easy website, htp.org/Eric, E-R-I-C-K, htp.org/Eric, E-R-I-C-K. Every year on my birthday, I ask people to help this organization. Help the Persecuted around the world helps new converts to Christianity in the Middle East who are being persecuted. In fact, several years ago, around Easter, one of the descendants of the Prophet Muhammad converted, and because he was a descendant of the Prophet Muhammad, an order was put out on him by the religious leadership in Iraq to kill him for converting to Christianity, and he had to be taken to a safe house and then evacuated from Iraq. And it was Help the Persecuted that got the guy out of the country. He was a documented, known descendant of Muhammad. Him converting to Christianity was a bridge too far for the religious leadership of Iraq, and they wanted him murdered. But for Help the Persecuted, he would have been killed. Help the Persecuted is a great organization. I love helping them. Every year on my birthday, I ask people to support them. htp.org/Eric, E-R-I-C-K. You can go help the persecuted and around the world. When we come back, speaking of the Middle East and Muslims, there is a startling leak from French intelligence about the Muslim Brotherhood. They have uncovered a plot from the Muslim Brotherhood to surreptitiously take over Western countries. It's kind of mind-blowing just how effective they've been. I've got the details when we come back.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. By wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers right away. If you're testing your blood sugar 4 or more times per day, injecting insulin 3 or more times per day, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetic Health Hotline today and learn about the latest CGM technology. A CGM can immediately reduce pain. It's accurate, easy to use, and helps you make better diabetes treatment decisions. And if you have Medicare, you can get a new CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. Plus, get free shipping, and we'll bill your insurance company for you. Call now to receive your new continuous glucose monitor at little or no out-of-pocket cost.
Paid for by U.S. Medical Supply.
Call 800-611-6638. That's 800-611-6638. Again, 800-611-6638. That's 800-611-6638.
News, weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 1 o'clock. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This news is sponsored by Window Nation. A big announcement from Atlanta Motor Speedway today. The name is changing. It's now going to be called Echo Park Speedway. Governor Kemp was on hand in Henry County when the announcement was made.
But when you think about the Speedway itself, over 1 million visitors in a year, I bet most Georgians don't even realize that happens.
And he says the yearly estimated economic impact of that speedway, $250 million. Your weather for today, sunny but hazy with an afternoon high of 86, but rain is in the forecast. WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards will have details coming up in just a matter of minutes. New developments today for a man accused of killing a Roswell police officer earlier this year.
Appearing before Fulton County Superior Court Judge Eric Dunaway, Edward Espinoza enters a plea of not guilty on allegations that he shot 24-year-old Roswell police officer Jeremy Labonte multiple times at a plaza on Market Boulevard in February. He's charged with murder, felony murder, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, and possession of a weapon during the commission of a felony. Labonte was responding to a suspicious person call outside Ace Pickleball Club when he approached Espinoza and was shot and killed. Austin Eller, 95.5 WSB.
With a push for her removal and accusations of removing 2 council members from the city's bank account, the Stone Mountain mayor says she wants to clear her name.
Mayor Beverly Jones says she was doing her job when she was called by a Truist Bank official to remove former employees of the city from Stone Mountain's bank account.
What kind of mayor would I be if I stood by and let someone go in the bank and write a check on us? I'd be knowing that this could have happened.
Jones says it was not her doing that resulted in the removal of 2 current employees from the account. Saying she feared litigation, Jones would not answer any questions about what occurred. Lisa Nicholas, 95.5 WSB.
We told you about the tomato recall. Well, the FDA is now upgrading that recall on tomatoes contaminated with salmonella to the most severe level here in Georgia, as well as in 2 other states, South Carolina and North Carolina. The FDA is saying that the tomatoes sold by Williams Farms repack may cause serious adverse health consequences or even death. This recall was first announced on May 2nd, but now the threat for tomatoes sold here in Georgia, North Carolina, and South Carolina has severely increased. So officials say anybody who purchased those tomatoes in question, you need to throw them out or return them for a refund. Do not eat them. It's 102.
It's Eric. Are you thinking of adding value to your house, or just you want more convenience and more comfort in your kitchen? Frugal Kitchens can get you one of those $1 million home kitchens at a fraction of the cost. They want to talk to you about how you can go through their process, get your new dream kitchen up and going, and you can be cooking in 5 days from the start of construction and get 18 months no interest financing available. It's what Christy and I have done. Life happens in your kitchen, and Frugal Kitchens can put you in a great one. FrugalKitchens.com.
Hi, it's Wes Moss. May's mayhem is behind us, and June is in full bloom. Spring brings milestones like graduations, weddings, and even new homes. It's also a time when you might be thinking about retirement. If that's you, visit our team at Capital Investment Advisors. We'll work with you to craft an income-focused portfolio designed to deliver a reliable paycheck in retirement. Get started at yourwealth.com. That's Y-O-U-R wealth.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, Shelley Winter here. Man, I'm telling you, I don't want to use a CPAP machine. You know why? Because I can't roll over and kiss AMAC the lawyer in the middle of the night. I know there is an alternative, and it comes from PalmettoSleep.com. They have oral appliance therapy. It's a great alternative to that bulky CPAP. You don't like that. Imagine holding your breath for 30 to 40 seconds. Go ahead. I'll wait. Yeah, no problem. You don't have to spend the night in a sleep lab. None of that happens with Palmetto Sleep. They can arrange for an in-home sleep test from the comfort of your own bed. And it's all covered by your private medical insurance. Go to PalmettoSleep.com. They have made the process super duper simple with virtual appointments and take-home sleep tests if needed. They handle absolutely everything. So if you've already been diagnosed, go to PalmettoSleep.com. That's PalmettoSleep.com. That's PalmettoSleep.com.
Properties come in all shapes and sizes, and so do foundation repairs. Mark Beckham here. It could be new construction, a big house, a small house, or your commercial property. Anyway, you need the leaders in foundation repair to handle it. Get your free estimate at AtlantaRamjack.com.
With Orchard, you can buy your new home before selling the old one and get paid twice. Cash up front now, more cash when it sells. Get started at Orchard.com. Get paid twice. Orchard.com.
Live team coverage of traffic and weather. Alex Williams in the WSB 24-hour traffic center.
Still seeing the brake lights through Clarkston, 285 southbound, the inner loop leaving Highway 78 to Stone Mountain Freeway, getting down to something blocking a lane. We're trying to get eyes on it just before I-20 exit 46. Earlier crash, 285 northbound, the outer loop into Cab before I-20. That has been moved off to the right. All lanes open there. Traveling downtown, 85 southbound, a little sluggish approaching 17th Street. And you'll stay on and off the brakes southbound for the ride down past North Avenue. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Mostly sunny, hazy today, high 86, lows tonight in the mid-60s. Tomorrow, partly cloudy with rain showers moving in from the southeast through the afternoon, high 84. Thursday, partly cloudy, highs in the mid-80s.
It is 83 degrees right now in Chamblee, 84 in Forest Park. Ackworth has 83 degrees. Enjoy today because rain's in the forecast tomorrow. And then Christina says rain returns for your weekend. A few showers south of I-20 tomorrow. We'll have more news coming up at 1:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here across the United States of America. Delighted to have you with me today. 877-973-7425 is the phone number. We have to get to this wild story from the Free Press. I had heard about this, and I've now read the documents as well as the summation of the story by Simone Rodin Benzaquin, and I'm kind of stunned. You have probably heard of the Muslim Brotherhood. Let me give you just a brief little history on the Muslim Brotherhood. It was founded in 1928 by Hassan al-Banna in Egypt. It is a governmental system. It's not just a religious system. Religio-political organization is the way it is termed in the encyclopedia. It advocates a return to the Quran and the Hadith as guidelines for a healthy modern Islamic society. It's spread through Egypt, Sudan, Syria, Lebanon, North Africa, and Palestinian territories. In the 1940s, it had 500,000 members. Now, it was in large part driven out of Egypt. Let me just read you this. This is from the Encyclopedia Britannica. Initially centered on religious and educational programs, the Muslim Brotherhood was seen as providing much-needed social services. And in the 1930s, its membership grew swiftly. In the late 1930s, the Brotherhood began to politicize its outlook. And as an opponent of Egypt's ruling party during World War II, it organized popular protests against the government. An armed branch organized in the 1940s was subsequently linked to a number of violent acts, including bombings and political assassinations, and it appears that the armed element of the group began to escape Hassan al-Banna's control. The Brotherhood responded to the government's attempts to dissolve the group by assassinating the Egyptian prime minister in 1948. Hassan al-Banna himself was assassinated shortly thereafter, and many believe his death was at the behest of the government. With the advent of the revolutionary regime in Egypt in 1952, the Brotherhood retreated underground. An attempt to assassinate Egyptian President Gamal Abdel Nasser in Alexandria in October of 1954 led to the Muslim Brotherhood's forcible suppression. 6 of its leaders were tried and executed for treason, and many others were imprisoned. Among those imprisoned was writer Sayyid Qutb, who authored a number of books during the course of his imprisonment. Among those was Signpost in the Road, which would become a template for modern Sunni militancy. Although he was released from prison in 1964, he was arrested again the following year and executed shortly thereafter. In the 1980s, the Muslim Brotherhood experienced a renewal as part of a general upsurge of religious activity in Islamic countries. The Brotherhood's new adherents aimed to reorganize society and government according to Islamic doctrines, and they were vehemently anti-Western. An uprising by the Brotherhood in the Syrian city of Hamas in February of 1982 was crushed by the government of Hafez al-Assad at a cost of 25,000 lives. The Brotherhood revived in Egypt and Jordan in the same period, and beginning in the 1980s, it emerged to compete in legislative elections. The Muslim Brotherhood has been effectively banned in Egypt and other Middle Eastern countries and moved to Europe. And in Europe, the Muslim Brotherhood has, much as it had done in the past, set up charitable organizations. Now, that's the background of the Muslim Brotherhood. Largely suppressed in Middle Eastern countries, the Muslim Brotherhood has existed in the United States and in Europe. And here's the thing you have to understand. They have a template. And the template is the Muslim Brotherhood in public comes off as the reasonable group. And in private are the really radical groups. It's one of the things MIMRI, the Middle East Research Institute, highlights oftentimes is a lot of the imams you see on television when they speak English or French. They're saying very reasonable things. They sound good. They sound reasonable. And then MIMRI will show you their sermons in the mosque in Arabic. And it's death to the West, kill all the Jews sort of stuff. Let me read you this now from the Free Press. Here's what happened. The French uncovered intelligence about the Muslim Brotherhood. And the documents marked confidential, meant for the top leadership of France, were leaked. France, this is from the story, France didn't plan to blow the whistle on the Muslim Brotherhood's attempt to take over Europe. Not France, but Europe. But that's exactly what it did a couple of weeks ago when a classified report from the Ministry of Interior leaked to the newspaper Le Figaro. The 73-page document marked Confidentiel Défense was meant for top officials only. Based on intelligence files, field investigations, and dozens of interviews, it lays out a stark diagnosis. The Muslim Brotherhood has built an extensive ideological infrastructure in France, not through violence, but through schools, charities, mosques, and soft power. It states, the Brotherhood's strategy is to install a form of ideological hegemony by infiltrating civil society under the guise of religious and educational activities. The report is the most detailed government study to date of the Brotherhood's presence in Europe. Written by two civil servants, it draws on months of fieldwork and analysis conducted in France and abroad with input from diplomats, intelligence officials, academics, and religious figures. Its conclusion is blunt. The Muslim Brotherhood operates as a political project. Its goal is not sudden revolution, but gradual transformation. It targets our hearts and minds. Its strength lies not in secrecy, but in strategic ambiguity. And it is not just coming for the French. It is coming for all of the West. While it claims to reject violence, it has extremist offshoots such as Hamas, and its influence often blurs the lines between nonviolence and radicalization. The numbers in France alone are startling. The Brotherhood's French network comprises 280 associations, including 139 officially affiliated mosques and 68 more considered ideologically close, together accounting for nearly 10% of the mosques open since 2010. Every Friday, some 91,000 people attend worship in these spaces. The movement also controls or influences 21 private schools. 3 of them are state-funded, and 859 Quranic schools where over 66,000 minors are taught to see themselves as part of a global Muslim community in moral and cultural opposition to Western secularism. What do they teach at these institutions? Well, Brotherhood-linked schools have distributed texts that praise Sharia law as superior to man-made law, denounce interfaith marriage, and vilify Jews. Anti-Semitism is not incidental to Brotherhood-affiliated organizations. It's central. Hatred of the Jews, the intelligence report states unequivocally, is a core ideological element often laundered through anti-Zionist slogans. In one mosque near Paris, a speaker recently declared, "Je suis Hamas," I am Hamas, to a cheering audience. In another, anti-Israel rhetoric bleeds seamlessly into classic anti-Semitic tropes. Hassan Iqiyoussen, a prominent preacher linked to the Muslim Brotherhood and recently expelled from France, is cited for repeatedly spreading anti-Semitic conspiracy theories. He claims that the Jews control the media and that they manipulate historical memory to maintain their grip on global opinion. Meanwhile, many schools have promoted books by known extremists, including figures expelled from France on national security grounds. One high school, Lycée Avro in Lille, was found to be teaching materials aligned with Islamic orthodoxy and was receiving foreign funding from Qatar, which is cited elsewhere in the report for backing Brotherhood-linked institutions under the guise of philanthropy. Qatar is not the only nation impacted. The report names Turkey as the movement's regional hub. Since the fall of Mohamed Morsi in Egypt in 2013, President Erdogan has hosted Brotherhood exiles, coordinating meetings in Istanbul, and supported affiliated networks across Europe. The Brotherhood strategy is not limited to religious and educational institutions. In regions like Lille, Lyon, and the suburbs of Paris, it has constructed what the report calls ecosystems. Halal stores, youth centers, job training, matchmaking services, Islamic microfinance, and charities that together create parallel structures of authority for Muslims that frequent them. The networks aren't illegal. They're influential. Over time, they normalize a specific worldview, one that rejects multiculturalism and secularism. These spaces elevate religious law over that of the country and impose social pressure on Muslims to comply, for example, with the expectations to wear veils. The Brotherhood's public face is polished, but the report emphasizes the movement uses double discourse. They project moderation in public while promoting anti-Semitism, gender segregation, and ideological separatism in private. It's a tested and tried strategy for Tariq and Hani Ramadan. Tariq presented himself as a progressive reformer. He was media savvy, multilingual, taught at Oxford, advised government leaders before his public persona collapsed under rape convictions. Hani embraced the harder line, openly supporting Sharia punishments and the subjugation of women. Their duality mirrored the Brotherhood's own model, respectable in public, radical in private. The report from the Free Press goes on from there. If you text DATA to 33777, you can actually get it. It's in the show notes today. We put that there. It's not behind the paywall at the Free Press. You can also go to thefp.com to see it. What the French intelligence report notes is that the Muslim Brotherhood is expanding across Europe and into the United States. One of the things that strikes me from the report that the Free Press doesn't get to is that the Muslim Brotherhood has essentially ceded ground from Western churches. As Western society itself has become more secular and people go in search of faith, they're finding the Muslim Brotherhood there to fill the void. Where churches used to run social organizations in many cities in Europe and in the United States, now Muslim groups are stepping up to fill the void. And in the process, they're indoctrinating and they're converting. The problem with the West is that Christianity is compatible with Western values and Islam is not. Because Islam embraces conversion by the sword and Christianity does not. That's not to say there haven't been Christian attempts to convert you with the sword. Those people who do it just don't understand their scripture. Muslims who convert by the sword very much are complying with their scripture. The West's flailing secularism, particularly in places like France, is part of the problem. They have devalued faith. And every single person listening to me right now, except the most committed atheist, tends to have that little voice in the back of their head wondering why they're here. They tend to have that voice in the back of their head wondering, is this real? Is there something more? And in France, with a deeply, deeply secular society, and in much of Western Europe, Sweden as well, the Muslim Brotherhood is filling the void and answering the question, there is more. Let me tell you about Muhammad and Allah. And particularly with immigrants who come in with those cultures already, it's much more persuasive. They see the decadence of Western secularism and they react accordingly against it. And now it turns out from French intelligence sources, this is all part of a plot to take over Western societies. And the French and the Swedish are reacting pretty vehemently against it. Now, interestingly enough, Emmanuel Macron, the French president, was furious with the leak. But now realizing that he could turn this around due to public outcry, he's ordering a national response to it. Sweden, by the way, has asked for the full report. It's launching an investigation. Austria and Belgium are also starting to notice. Belgium has been one of the most accommodationist in Europe. Belgium, within about 20 years, a lot of scholars think is actually going to be a majority Muslim nation. It's not just France. It's not just Europe. The Muslim Brotherhood has come to the United States as well. It is not an organization that is accommodationist. It, in public facing, is accommodationist, and in private, deeply, deeply radical. You cannot understand the growth of anti-Semitism and these protests against Israel on college campuses without understanding what's going on behind the scenes with money from Qatar and groups like the Muslim Brotherhood, and it's coming for you and me. It will not allow you to sit on the sidelines. They are a group of people who believe in forcible conversions, silence, or death. You pick.
Those who love him, listen to find out what he's going to say next. Those who disagree with him, also listen to see what he's going to say next. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
121, Cool Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. New trouble in Gwinnett, 85 northbound Indian Trail Road, exit 101. Stall in the HOV lane, or HOT lane, and as I say that is pulling away, so that'll help the delays through Norcross. And if you're traveling 285 south, the Interloop into Cab, you're on and off the brakes through Clarkston, Highway 78 down toward I-20, where earlier trouble cleared. Traffic brought to you by Summit Racing Equipment. This Father's Day, visit Summit Racing to find great gear, head gifts for dad, or give him the perfect card, a Summit Racing gift card. Shop summitracing.com today. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
It pays to have the WSB radio app. Download it today and get ready for the Blitz.
Oh my God. The WSB 5K a day bonus Blitz. 5 chances a day to win $5,000.
It's the Blitz.
The WSB 5K a day bonus Blitz.
Your next chance to win is coming up at 2 p.m.
Oh, that's cool.
From 95.5 WSB.
Download the WSB radio app now.
There's a new optimism in the air, and we think investors like you might have the best year ever. Hello, I'm Brant Frost, founder of First Liberty Building and Loan. Last year, we opened up our First Liberty Notes program to Main Street investors just like you, and the response has been just incredible. Everyday folks from all walks of life have enjoyed 8 to 13% interest rates while helping to fuel the growth of small businesses right here at home. If you're a qualified investor and have a minimum of $25,000, you too could be earning 8 to 13% interest rates. We'd love to have you join our First Liberty family today. We believe this is going to be a special year and a great year. We've got the projects. Now we need partners like you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com and see if our First Liberty notes are right for you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com. That's FirstLibertyGA.com.
First Liberty notes are not obligations of or guaranteed by any financial institution and are not secured by any collateral. They are not FDIC insured or guaranteed by any government agency. You could lose money. Purchasers must verify their SEC accredited investor status. Securities are not being offered in any jurisdiction in which it is unlawful.
At CertaPro Painters, we know that a happy place comes in many colors, like ones that inspire a sense of wonder, or a new flavor that makes life just a little bit sweeter, or one to celebrate those moments that lift you to new heights. We can reawaken any space to make your happy place your home. CertaPro Painters. That's painting happy. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
Breda Pest Management is the best at beating bugs, keeping critters out, and tormenting termites. Did you know the Breda family's been protecting local homes inside and out for over 50 years? Hey, it's Dave Baker. I don't lose sleep worrying about bugs and critters because Breda has perfected protecting my home. Here's to another 50 years of bug beating, termite tossing, and critter kicking.
Breda, no need to be afraid of bugs.
Men, trouble in the bedroom? Not anymore. Priority Men's Medical Center restores your love life in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE. Here's a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Have Viagra or Cialis let you down? Priority Men's Medical Center offers the most effective treatments that eliminate ED and PE, with men lasting longer than ever. 98% of patients see instant results on their first visit.
Priority Men's Medical Center's breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. Your consultation and first treatment are free. You'll see instant results in the office. Plus, qualified patients get their testosterone checked free. Call 404-885-8885. 404-885-8885. To restore your love life in just one visit, call now. 404-885-8885.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. By wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers right away. If you're testing your blood sugar 4 or more times per day, injecting insulin 3 or more times per day, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetic Health Hotline today and learn about the latest CGM technology. A CGM can immediately reduce pain. It's accurate, easy to use, and helps you make better diabetes treatment decisions. And if you have Medicare, you can get a new CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. Plus, get free shipping, and we'll bill your insurance company for you. Call now to receive your new continuous glucose monitor at little or no out-of-pocket cost.
Paid for by U.S. Medical Supply.
Call 800-611-6638. That's 800-611-6638. Again, 800-611-6638. That's 800-611-6638.
Your non-stop news source. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Want to be on the show? Come on, be on the show. Call Eric now at 877-973-7425.
Greetings, welcome. It is Eric Erickson here, 877-973-7425. If you wish to be on the program, let me jump over here to Blake calling from Jacksonville, Florida. Welcome to the show, Blake. How are you?
I'm doing well. Last time we talked about those things dropping down in the airplane. So everything you were talking about is something, it comes down to how can Islam say one thing in one moment and mean something else in another? It comes down to the notion of something called taqiyya. And taqiyya is, you can find this in their documents and whatnot. It's basically holy lying. It's one way that it can draw a very stark difference with Christianity. In Christianity, we have truth is absolute. We are required to tell the truth or suffer for it. On the other hand, in Islam and Sharia law, what it says is whether you're pursuing jihad or whether you're in a difficult position, you're accepted. You can lie your way out of it. So they put one face to us, but they actually have something else in their heart. It's a huge thing that we need to always talk about, not just the matter of what Scripture says about defending Israel, but we also have to talk about their ability or their notion that they can lie to us, and that is consistent with their beliefs.
Yeah, that is well said, Blake. Thank you very much for that. It's true. What Blake is saying is accurate and truthful, and it is well documented, and it is one of the things that the Muslim Brotherhood is built upon doing, saying one thing in public to Westerners and another in private in their mosques. It's a real big problem that we've got to really take on. Now, you need to take on Vision Computers if you need new technology. You can go to visioncomputers.com or call them at 404-COMPUTE. Anybody in the nation. You could be up in Maine. You can be in Arizona, wherever Vision works in all 50 states. They can build you new computers. They can upgrade your existing computers. You can get their world-class tech support where they can remote in and fix your computer if there's ever a problem. You go to 404-COMPUTE or visioncomputers.com. If you call them and tell them Eric sent you, you're going to save even more money. They've got world-class tech support. They can literally take your existing computer, transfer everything to your new computer as long as it's Windows 11 compatible, set it up exactly the same way so when you get the new computer, everything is set up exactly like the old computer so you never skip a beat. They can be your tech support for your office so you don't have to hire an in-house IT guy, or for your home. If you're in the gig economy, you can use them. Call them at 404-COMPUTE or go to visioncomputers.com. Tell them I called or told you to call, and you'll save even more money. Vision Computers, world-class tech support. They'll save you money, build you a great computer.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
Traffic. 95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 1:30. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This news sponsored by Ben Hill Renovation. The man accused of shooting and killing a Roswell police officer earlier this year has entered a plea of not guilty in Fulton County Superior Court. Edward Espinoza facing 4 charges, including felony murder and aggravated assault for the death of Officer Jeremy Labonte. Labonte was responding to a suspicious person call outside Ace Pickleball Club back in February when he was shot multiple times. Espinoza arrested shortly after that shooting. Atlanta Motor Speedway getting a new name and a big corporate sponsor. It's now going to be called Echo Park Speedway. The FDA issuing the highest warning possible for tomatoes with salmonella contamination. They were sold here in Georgia as well as in South Carolina and North Carolina. The tomatoes in question are from Williams Farms Repack. Consumers who have purchased these products urged not to consume them, take them back for a refund. One day, Parkinson's may be detected by the stroke of a pen using artificial intelligence.
Biomedical engineers created a self-powered pen with magnetic ink that can analyze handwriting, reflecting motor control and tracking coordination. AI models then were able to distinguish between those who had Parkinson's disease and those who didn't with 96% accuracy.
And Sherry Preston reports the study was small, so more studies are needed. Job openings rose unexpectedly in April, showing that the labor market remains resilient in the face of uncertainty. The Labor Department reporting today that employers posted 7.4 million job vacancies in April. That's up from 7.2 million in March. Economists had expected openings to drift down to 7.1 million, but the number of Americans quitting their job, a sign of confidence in their prospects, fell, and layoffs also ticked higher. Let's take a look at the markets. The Dow right now is up 227 at 42,533. So the Dow's up more than 0.5%. Nasdaq's up more than a full percent, and the S&P's not far behind. It's 132.
With our weather extremes, I wanted windows that would stand the test of time. Hi, it's meteorologist Glenn Burns, and I found them. I love my Infinity from Marvin fiberglass windows from North Georgia Replacement Windows. I was blown away. They're energy efficient and incredibly durable. 8 times stronger than vinyl, so they last. Experience the fiberglass difference in your home or in their new Alpharetta showroom.
Infinity from Marvin Replacement Windows, yeah!
It's your money. Get it sooner. All you need is direct deposit with a checking or savings account at Coosa Valley Credit Union. This is Andy Harris, president of Coosa Valley Credit Union. Not only can you get your money sooner, but we believe in kinder banking where you deal with real people in person. So come see us.
At Barlow Lexus of South Atlanta, they just don't sell cars. They set the standard of amazing. Enjoy personalized service, a Starbucks cafe, and airport parking concierge because you deserve more than just a car. Visit ButlerLexusSouthAtlanta.com or call 800-NEW-LEXUS today because they value you.
This is Monica Pearson from My Plumber Superior Plumbing. The owner, Jay Cunningham, has been serving Atlanta for almost 40 years. They are Atlanta's plumber. Most other plumbing companies have been purchased by private equity conglomerates. Superior Plumbing is entrenched in the community, but the reason I chose Superior Plumbing is that they respect your time with on-time appointments and quality work done right the first time.
To Superior, the honest one. Call 770-422-PLUM.
Belinda Skelton here for Atlanta Vision Institute, and I have Stephanie with me. She's a patient of Dr. Ashraf, and Stephanie recently had the laser optics procedure. Stephanie, why did you have the laser optics procedure?
I wanted to be able to not ever use reading glasses again because I got tired of pulling my phone out of my purse when I forgot them to blow things up, and I just wanted to see.
And how was life after laser optics procedure at Atlanta Vision Institute?
Incredible. I could read the bottom of a nail polish bottle. I don't need my readers, never used them since I've had my laser optics procedure. It's been amazing.
What would you say to people who are on the fence about having the procedure?
Do you want to see?
That says it all, folks. Folks, if you want to see like Stephanie, go to 2020atlanta.com. That's 2020atlanta.com.
All right, Alex Williams, how are we looking on the roads?
Better news up in Norcross. Stall cleared. 85 northbound Indian Trail Road, exit 101. Delays have improved there, but now some right lane construction southbound leaving Norcross into DeKalb. 85 southbound at Pleasantdale Road, exit 96. That's in the right lane, causing a few brake lights to Spaghetti Junction. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
This is WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Sunny skies, though hazy today, with a high of 86. Lows tonight in the mid-60s. Tomorrow, starting off partly cloudy, but rain showers arrive in the afternoon. High 84. Thursday, partly cloudy, highs in the mid-80s.
More news at 2 o'clock, breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
Smart, fearless, and occasionally funny. You're listening to The Eric Erickson Show.
Greetings, conversationalists. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. The phone number is 877-973-7425 if you'd like to be on the program. Again, if you text ENGAGE to 33777, text the word ENGAGE to the phone number 33777. I'll send you back a link to the Fox Theater so you can order tickets. Your limit is 2 per person. You can come join me, the Not Safe for Radio show, July 12th. It is a one-time only event. Your phone will be confiscated at the door. I'm not trying to get myself canceled. My bosses can breathe a sigh of relief. No phones allowed. They'll be taken up at the door. You'll get them in a little secure pouch you're not going to be able to open during the show. Should be a fun time. Boy, do I have stories I can't tell you about on radio. You can hear them all. Text ENGAGE to 33777. The event is almost sold out. There's only about 24 tickets left. After we open up a massive block of them, they're almost completely sold out. So if you want them, you better get them. Text ENGAGE to 33777. We might be able to open up some more, but the room is kind of getting packed. I want to talk a little more about this Muslim Brotherhood story from a different angle. And somebody on Twitter said, Erickson, I love you, but you should put it in your own words instead of reading so much. Yeah, I totally get that. But also the story I think is so important is some stories are worth leaving in the words of the author so that you have their context of it. But there's something that stands out to me. In Western society, in a secular society, there are a lot of people who have a voice in the back of their head wondering if this is all there is. And they're in search of a higher, bigger meaning. They're in search of something. They're trying to find their place in the universe, if you will. And they're not sure where to go. They're looking. They're trying to find answers. And oftentimes they stumble upon religion. Often it's by accident. They don't intend to be there. They just are there. They stumble into it because surely there's some higher, greater purpose. On Thursday night, I am speaking at my church. It's a men's only event. Anyone is welcome. You've got an RSVP, First Presbyterian Church in Macon, Georgia. You got an RSVP. I think today's the closeout day, actually, at RSVP. But any of you are welcome to come. I'm kind of be talking about this particular topic as people they're questioning their place in the world. A lot of young men trying to find their place in the world, and they know that something is amiss. They know that something's not right. They know that they are out of place in a world where the world says genders don't matter. They can choose to become a girl. They know that's not so, and y'all know that's not so. Even the most ardent defender of transgenderism deep down really knows it's mental illness, and they are allowing their empathy to turn to sin and corrupt their understanding of the world so that they can tell the person that, no, you really can be the Queen of England. You just identify as such and you become such. And they know it's not really so. They know it's not it, but they're so committed to their empathy, they don't know how to turn it off. I'm a big fan of empathy, but when empathy becomes essentially the embrace of mental illness, you have a problem. Young men are looking. The answers have got to be there. What's my place in the world? Where do I belong? How do I fit in? How do I be a man? Nate Silver has a piece on why men are gravitating to the Republican Party. You know one of the big reasons men are gravitating to the Republican Party? Because young men tend not to be insane, and in so doing, they tend to not want to be surrounded in a party of neurotic women. Although I've seen it written about elsewhere, I was honestly surprised by how strong the relationship is, Nate Silver writes. Among voters who report poor mental health, liberals outnumber conservatives 45 to 19%. Among those who report excellent mental health, conservatives outnumber liberals 51 to 20. So the young men the Democrats have trouble with aren't necessarily the ones who have been captured by the conservative manosphere or who are looking for a helping hand. Rather, it's those who report relatively high mental health and see Democrats as being too neurotic and perhaps constraining their opportunity to compete and reap the rewards of their work. That's Nate Silver. It's not that young men have shifted dominantly to the right. It's not that young men have fully embraced Donald Trump. It's not that young men have become Republicans. It's not that young men have become Reagan acolytes in the conservative movement. It's that young men aren't crazy. You've got a bunch of neurotic white women and gay men in charge of the Democratic Party, and they cannot relate to normal 20 and 30-something heterosexual men. They can't. And I will remind you, one of the most prominent Democratic consultants in America told me after Biden lost, the biggest problem the Democratic Party has is it has been captured by gay men and white, neurotic, wealthy women. And he's not wrong. In fact, I know a number of gay men who have moved to the GOP not because they want to be in a coalition with evangelical Christians like me, but because they're not nuts. And they're tired of the nut jobs and the emotional drama queens of the Democratic Party. The GOP coalition is far broader than it was. In fact, it's too broad for some who want a purging of the party to get rid of all the non-Christian elements that you're not going to win an election if you do that. But the Democratic Party is purging everybody who doesn't fit in. And they're all neurotic. They're all in therapy. Young men are finding their place in the world, and they know they don't need a therapist. Now, listen, some of you need a therapist, and there's nothing wrong with having a therapist. I, one time, actually had a friend of mine force me to go talk to someone for several months. I did, and it did me a world of good. But what I find is the permanent relationship with the therapist stuff is really problematic. At some point, aren't you supposed to be getting over your problems? But no, you got this long-term relationship with the therapist, and a lot of white women in particular in the Democratic Party are their therapist is on speed dial. And the men who are in the Democratic Party are no better. There are a lot of men who have poured a lot of energy into acting as effeminate as possible to avoid upsetting people on the left. And most young men don't want to do that. And they've been alienated by the Democratic Party. They're trying to find their place in the world. You know, here's a data point that I find very interesting. There have been a number of studies on this. You know, the number one category of young man that does not engage with pornography. If you heard this, multiple studies now pointed this out. There's been a Barna study. There's been I think it was a Harvard study. There's been a study from, I want to say it was Brigham Young, one of the religious, I think Mormon religious institutions out there. There have been a number of studies on pornography and young men and who engages and who doesn't. And what's so interesting about pornography is that it doesn't matter your age, your wealth, your background, whether you come from a broken home or a put-together home, it doesn't matter. Young men increasingly now into middle school are beginning to look at pornography. It's free and readily available online. Many parents don't have the resources or knowledge to combat it. And young men, the data now is that a young man in 5th grade will see pornography for the first time, and by 8th grade will be regularly engaging with pornography. And by the time they're a senior in high school, will have an ongoing relationship with pornography. And it doesn't matter if they're black or white or Hispanic or Asian or rich or poor or from a broken home or from a 2-parent heterosexual nuclear household. They will engage with pornography beginning typically in the 4th or 5th grade and have a regular relationship with it by high school. And there's only one class of young man who doesn't engage regularly with pornography. One class. Do you have any idea? I was stunned. There have now been multiple research studies, and they all show the same thing. The only class of young man who does not regularly engage with pornography is the young man who has a relationship with a father who tells him not to, that it's bad for him. That's it. And that, again, defies divorced couples, married couples, wealthy couples, poor couples, white couples, black couples, Asian, Hispanic, it doesn't matter. A young man who has the influence of a father who tells him this is harmful for you, don't do it, here's why, is less likely to engage with porn. A father who does not engage with his son on the issue, doesn't matter whether they're rich or poor, black or white, they're going to. And young men are trying to find their way in the world. And those who have the influence of a father tend to have an advantage over everyone else. Those who have the influence of a father and a mother in a heterosexual household tend to have an advantage over those from a broken home. And those who are engaged in a sense of this is what it means to be a husband, a father, a man, a good person, tend to succeed more. And what has the left done over time? They vilified and mocked those things. Fathers are the butt of jokes. People who go to church are the butt of jokes. All the world designed to tell young men don't conform to this. And yet the young men who do wind up conforming to it, trying to find a place in the world, tend to move to the right. And the young men who lean towards what the world has told them to do and realize this is wrong and go and search, they hear the voice in the back of their head, why am I here? What's going on with me? Where is my place in the world? And they move to the right. They find a church. They engage in faith. They have better mental health, and they realize the Democratic Party is full of nut jobs. The Democrats are part of an insane cult of progressives who devalue what it means to be a man, are insulting to the idea of what it means to be a man. And not only that, on top of that all, they're deeply neurotic people who can't take jokes. I can't tell you the number of times I say something on this program and some Democrat somewhere gets really mad at me. Everybody else laughs. So whoever says, that's not funny. But there's another class of people too, and this is what you got to be on the mind for. There's a growing class of progressive person on the right. I was in a group chat last night with some friends because we all have in this group, we have a mutual friend who we're watching radicalize online, particularly on social media, who's just saying stuff he would have never said 15 years ago. It's just, in with the herd. And we've all noticed that there is a middle-aged man, a 30-something man to middle age, who's not married, who doesn't have kids, who lives online. And those people are as neurotic as the ones on the left. They are increasingly radicalized, increasingly prone to conspiracy theory. We are not meant to be alone, and when you are alone, you tend to go crazy. And what we're finding on the left is that increasingly one of the biggest reasons for mental health problems is so many people on the left have isolated themselves. They only hang out with people who share their neuroses, which just are a feedback loop. As people on the right have a more diverse set of friends. People on the right are more likely to have liberal friends and not alienate them. It's the liberals who want to be alienated from the conservatives. And the young men going to find themselves, they're looking for community. They're looking for belonging. They're looking for people who aren't crazy. And they're winding up in churches with people on the right. And they're starting as well to shun the people on the right who've isolated themselves and gone crazy. This is actually a good thing for society. The problem is on the women's side. The women are isolating themselves and become neurotic, crazy, and need therapists. And the young men want to find wives, and they can't find wives with humorless shrews who are out there just lecturing everybody and yelling about putting your mask on an airplane in 2025. That in and of itself is a problem. At some point, we're going to have to launch a rescue mission for the women of America who are leaning into the Democratic Party and going insane in the process. But that's for another day. Right now, I want to tell you about my bank, Old Glory Bank. They would love to be your bank. They're a wonderful bank. They literally are my bank. I have a checking account with them. I have a savings account with them. I've always believed your money should reflect your values. And in a world where so many banks are pushing agendas that don't align with common sense American values, I needed a bank that gets it. One that respects freedom, faith, and hard work. That's why I switched to Old Glory Bank. Old Glory Bank isn't just any bank. It's a bank that stands with you. Built by patriots for patriots. They don't cancel people for their beliefs. There's no woke nonsense. Just honest, secure banking that respects your values. Whether it's personal accounts, business accounts, home loans, CDs, car loans, they got you covered. And they don't just talk the talk, they live it. Founded by Dr. Ben Carson, Larry Elder, John Rich, and other Americans, Old Glory Bank is the bank that backs free speech, supports your Second Amendment rights, and actually believes in the Constitution. So if you're tired of banks that care more about their politics than your freedom, it's time to switch. Head over to oldglorybank.com/Eric. That's oldglorybank.com/Eric. Now, this is important. They've never done this before, and so I personally, here on my birthday, would appreciate it if you went to oldglorybank.com/Eric and just found out more so they can see I'm actually driving traffic to the site. That's how they measure my effectiveness as an advertiser. So go to oldglorybank.com/Eric today. See for yourself why they're the right choice for freedom-loving Americans. Tell them Eric sent you, which you do by going to oldglorybank.com/Eric. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Terms and conditions apply.
When the truth seems hazy, Eric will clear the way. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
151 Coolray Carrier, WSP 24-hour traffic center. Right lane construction out of Norcross into DeKalb. 85 southbound Pleasantdale Road, exit 96, causing a few brake lights back before Jimmy Carter. Heads up in Dorville, very heavy police activity, shutting down most of Peachtree Boulevard southbound right before I-285. Only a right lane is open. Northbound, only a couple of right lanes are open, so that's definitely going to impact 285 both ways. Go ahead and use Buford Highway as your alternate. Traffic brought to you by Extreme Experience. Give Dad the ultimate driving experience in a Ferrari, Lamborghini, or Porsche on a real racetrack. Extreme Experience is Atlanta Motorsports Park, July 10th through the 13th. Save 25% for Father's Day at extremeexperience.com. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Wednesday, starting at 5 on Atlanta's Morning News. Continue tracking the warm-up in our 5-day forecast. Your chance to win a grand. Remember, it's the last week of our Bonus Blitz contest and what Clark means when he says, free is your credit on WSB.
Back by popular demand, D. Geller & Son Jewelers Watches and Whiskey event is next weekend, June 13th through 15th, only at D. Geller & Son Jewelers, where we're celebrating summer and Father's Day by bringing in an incredible variety of new and pre-owned luxury Swiss timepieces. Fan favorites like Tissot and Omega, showstoppers like Rolex and Breitling, and while you're browsing, enjoy complimentary whiskey tastings thanks to Old Fourth Distillery. It's next weekend, June 13th through 15th. Learn more at dgeller.com.
The foods we eat can be downright bad for our health. This is Sue from Bread Beckers with Sue's Healthy Minute. I have a degree in food science, and for more than 30 years, I've been teaching the truth about real bread. Not the stuff you buy at the store. I'm talking real bread made with freshly milled flour. When you buy bread from the store, take a look at the ingredients. Enriched flour means that the nutritious bran and germ has been removed to improve the shelf life. Then a few B vitamins and iron are added back to replace the multitude of nutrients lost. That's not enrichment in my book. And today, that label may even read contains bioengineered food ingredients. Food should never be bioengineered. At Bread Beckers in Woodstock, we can teach you how to make real bread loaded with fiber and nutrients. A delicious, healthy, affordable solution that can improve your health and change your life. Visit breadbeckers.com or our Bread Beckers store in Woodstock.
Don't miss your chance to take advantage of the Buy 4, Get 4 free sale and pay nothing until 2027. Sale ends soon, only from Window Nation. Schedule your free estimate now at 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com. That's windownation.com.
Hey everyone, it's your buddy Shelley Winter here. Join me this Saturday at noon for the Car Guys with Kevin Deutsch from Butler Lexus of South Atlanta. Buy or lease, fix or sell, everything you want to know about cars, we will cover Saturday noon to 1 right here on 95.5 WSB.
WSB Atlanta, WSB BFM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's news and talk.
Hey y'all, Belinda Skelton for Four Seasons Home Care, and I'm not going to cry in this commercial, I hope. As many of you know, I lost both my parents recently, but I am so thankful they were able to finish their lives at home where they wanted to be. It's all because of the incredible caregivers who came to see them every day. I am so grateful to Four Seasons Home Care. This is a real family-owned company that vets and hires every single one of their caregiving specialists. They don't have contractors. They're not some national corporation. They are simply the best here in Georgia. And a lot of you have asked me about my journey and if home care is right for your aging parents. I'll tell you what I tell them. Call Four Seasons Home Care and just start the conversation. It's a 100% free call that can change everything. Google Four Seasons Home Care Atlanta. That's Four Seasons Home Care Atlanta.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's news and talk.
Get Eric's daily show prep email. Text DATA to 33777 and you'll be in the know.
There is breaking news happening right now. Kind of interesting. This is happening. You should know about it. Elon Musk has just gotten on Twitter and tweeted, and I quote, "I'm sorry, but I can't stand it anymore. This massive, outrageous, pork-filled congressional spending bill is a disgusting abomination. Shame on those who voted for it. You know you did wrong. You know it. It will massively increase the already gigantic budget deficit to $2.5 trillion and burden American citizens with crushingly unsustainable debt." Well, I wonder if that means he's no longer going to contribute $100 million to the Republicans' 2026 campaigns. He's not wrong. Nobody wants to be the one to say the emperor has no clothes, but the emperor has no clothes. Look, we need the tax cuts, but the nickel and diming in this bill to placate the moderates in the House of Representatives with the SALT deduction and the like is just gross. And the willingness of the Republicans to prop up the Green New Deal. Musk isn't even a fan of the subsidies that benefit him with the Green New Deal stuff that they're preserving. It's problematic. He's not wrong. But here's the problem. They've got to get something passed. And what I find most interesting is the Elon Musk trajectory being just like the GOP's, one of disappointment once you get involved. Now, you won't be disappointed with Omaha Steaks. If you go to omahasteaks.com today, you can get a great Father's Day package. It'll make you happy. It'll make your father happy. It will be fantastic and delicious. You go to omahasteaks.com at checkout. There is a box, and in that box, you put my name, Eric, E-R-I-C-K, and you can save an additional $35, minimum order required. It's a fantastic deal from Omaha Steaks. Load up deliciousness for your father for Father's Day. You've got great steaks and seafood, chicken, pork, desserts, ready-made size. You get the entire Father's Day meal. Let your dad grill out. He's going to love it. Long-time tradition of my family to do Omaha Steaks. You can do it too. I recommend the New York strips. omahasteaks.com. Put Eric in as your promo code at checkout for an extra $35 off.
Listen up, because women have long waited for the world to recognize the importance of our health.
Northside Hospital goes beyond "we hear you" to "we're out here with you," because women deserve more than open ears.
They deserve open doors, and 1 ounce of action is worth 1,000 words.
Northside is rolling up our sleeves and getting to work for you.
This is a house call. Heard. Learn more at northside.com/herd.
When it rains, it pours right into your crawl space, and that creates that musty smell and dangerous mold growth under your house. Meteorologist Christina Edwards here for American Crawl Space Solutions. Make the smell and the water go away and stop the water from coming back. Call American Crawl Space Solutions. They're experts at keeping your crawl space dry and preventing the mold from growing in your home. Give them a call today.
American Crawl Space Solutions. Foundations too.
News, weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
At 2 o'clock, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top local story. Iconic Atlanta Motor Speedway has a new name.
The Henry County track has been the site of racing since the 1960s, and now the facility has a fresh coat of paint and a new partnership with Echo Park Automotive.
We now have gone to another level.
General Manager Brandon Hutchison says this change secures the track's future.
When you've been here since 1960, sometimes you need a little bit of a facelift, so it gives us the opportunity to continue to increase the fan experience.
The naming rights contract runs until 2032. At Echo Park Speedway, Jonathan O'Brien, 95.5 WSB.
86 degrees in Atlanta. When we could see our next chance of rain, meteorologist Christina Edwards has Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast coming up. The man accused of shooting and killing a Roswell police officer pleads not guilty.
Edward Espinoza appears before Fulton County Superior Court Judge Eric Dunaway to enter the plea on 4 charges: murder, felony murder, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, and possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony. He's accused of shooting 24-year-old Roswell police officer Jeremy Labonte multiple times in February at a plaza on Market Boulevard, leading to Labonte's death. Labonte was responding to a suspicious person call when that shooting happened. The case soon will move to the discovery phase. Austin Eller, 95.5 WSB.
Stone Mountain Mayor Beverly Jones wants to clear her name after allegations she removed all but her name from the city's bank account. She says she only removed the names of former employees.
What kind of mayor would I be if I stood by and let someone go in the bank and write a check on us? I'd be knowing that this could have happened.
She says she did not remove any current employees from the account. Council members are concerned Jones has abused her authority as mayor. New details on a tomato recall. The FDA says the recall of tomatoes contaminated with salmonella is raised to the most severe level in Georgia and 2 other states, South and North Carolina. The tomatoes sold by Williams Farms Repack may cause serious adverse health consequences or death. The recall was first announced May 2nd. So far, there are no confirmed cases of Georgians getting sick. Amazon plans to open a sorting center in West Georgia, bringing more than 1,000 new jobs to the state. The 1.6 million square foot facility in Hogansville is expected to open in 2027. This will be Amazon's 3rd sorting center in Georgia. Since 2010, Amazon has created more than 31,000 jobs in the state. It is now 2:02. This news is sponsored by Brett Beckers. Up next, live team coverage of traffic and weather.
Don't ignore cracking bricks and concrete or boat walls. You could be ignoring foundation problems. AquaGuard Foundation Solutions knows these signs could lead to a reduction in your home's value. Visit aquaguard.net today to book your free inspection. Remember,
AquaGuard. You need a real vacation, one where you can truly disconnect and be present. I'm Richard with Lux and Rome Travel. I take the stress out of planning so you can focus on relaxing, enjoying, and making memories that last a lifetime. From European family adventures to luxury cruises, we design trips tailored just for you. Be present on your dream vacation with Lux and Rome. Book today at luxrome.com. That's LUXEROAM.com. That's luxrome.com.
Hey folks, it's Belinda. What you have planned this weekend? How about visiting the Lakewood 400 Antiques Market in Cumming, Friday through Sunday this weekend? Grab your spouse or your friends and go on a treasure hunt with over 500 booths. Everything you can imagine, from jewelry, collectibles, sports memorabilia, antiques, furniture, handcrafts, and toys. Every aisle and row is a different adventure. Come on out this weekend to the Lakewood 400 Antiques Market, 1321 Atlanta Highway in Cumming. Visit LakewoodAntiques.com.
Hey, get a guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate and sell your home for maximum value, and that's without the stress of listing your home on the market. Hey, Sean Hannity here. You know, trying to sell your home can be overwhelming. With the guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate, you can skip the entire hassle, get an all-cash offer, and close within days. That means no showings, no open houses, and the best part, no stress. Just go to markspain.com and find out what your guaranteed offer will be, and then you can start packing.
Skeeters biting you? Better call Breda Pest Management. They handle bugs and critters. And Breda is proud to sponsor Scott Slade, Georgia, every Thursday on Atlanta's Morning News.
Breda, no need to be afraid of bugs.
Does it seem like it's getting louder and louder? Yeah, that's not supposed to happen. That noise is your garage door crying for help. Hi, I'm Dan Watkins, owner of All Four Seasons Garage and Entry Doors. Our highly trained technicians provide 24/7 service, upfront pricing, and free estimates. We service all major brands. Our products are warranted, and our work is guaranteed. We will treat you like our only customer. When trust matters, trust us. All the number 4 Seasons Garages.com.
It is 2:05. Time for live team coverage of traffic and weather in the 24-hour traffic center. It's Alex Williams.
Hey, good afternoon, Bill. Heads up for those traveling through Doraville. Very heavy police fire department activity on Peachtree Boulevard, just north of 285. Only a right shoulder is open southbound, and only a right lane or two open northbound. This is also starting to impact 285 both ways. Think about Buford Highway. Elsewhere, still got this right lane construction into Cobb County, 85 southbound. Pleasantdale Road, exit 96, causing some brake lights there through Norcross. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Mostly sunny, hazy today. High 86, lows tonight in the mid-60s. Tomorrow, partly cloudy with rain showers moving in from the southeast through the afternoon. High 84. Thursday, partly cloudy, highs in the mid-80s.
Right now it's 83 in Stone Mountain, 84 in Powder Springs, also 84 in East Point. More news at 2:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Bill Caiaccio, 95.5 WSB.
It's the WSB 5K a day bonus blitz. This hour's keyword is Tuesday.
Goodbye, Ruby Tuesday.
Tuesday. Go to the WSB Radio app or WSBRadio.com/cash for your chance to win. Again, that keyword is Tuesday.
Goodbye, Ruby Tuesday.
Tuesday. Join me live at 3 for the Von Haessler Doctrine, and I'll have your next keyword and chance to win at 5.
Goodbye, Ruby Tuesday.
Greetings, America. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. I am delighted to have you with me. Thank you for the birthday wishes from so many of you today. 877-973-7425. Is the number. There is an unbelievable story breaking out of Detroit that I need to get to right now from the Detroit News. This is from Robert Snell. It just hit the wires. Federal agents have arrested a University of Michigan scholar from China on charges she tried to smuggle a biological pathogen into the United States, characterized as a potential agricultural terrorism weapon that can be used to target food crops. The FBI counterintelligence case against University of Michigan scholar Yongqin Jian, 33, and her boyfriend, 34-year-old Zunyong Liu, was unsealed in federal court in Detroit on Tuesday and marks the second time in less than a week a Chinese national with ties to that university have been charged with federal crimes. On Friday, prosecutors unsealed a criminal case against a former University of Michigan Chinese student who voted illegally in the 2024 election, saying he fled the U.S. to avoid prosecution. Jian is a citizen of China who received a doctorate degree in plant pathogens from Zhejiang University, and investigators say they have discovered information describing her membership in and loyalty to the Chinese Communist Party. Prosecutors say she received money from a Chinese foundation funded largely by the Chinese government to conduct postdoctoral work, including research on a fungus known as Fusarium graminearum, a biological pathogen that can cause devastating diseases in crops. Prosecutors say her boyfriend illegally smuggled a biological pathogen into the United States at the Detroit Metropolitan Airport on July 27th. When Customs and Border Protection officers questioned Liu, he made false statements to CBP officers about the purpose of his visit to the United States and his knowledge of the existence of the biological pathogen in his possession. The pathogen causes head blight, a disease that devastates wheat, barley, corn, and rice. Toxins produced by Fusarium graminearum cause vomiting, liver damage, and reproductive defects in livestock and humans. Fusarium graminearum is responsible for billions of dollars of economic losses worldwide each year. This is breaking news. This is happening now. The United States has just announced these indictments to Chinese nationals, members of the Chinese Communist Party, attempting to deliver a fungus poison into the United States, a potential agro-terrorism weapon into the heartland. They intended to use a University of Michigan laboratory to further their scheme. Y'all, it's time everybody on every side of the aisle recognize the Chinese are our enemy. They're not even an adversary, they're an enemy. We're in a Cold War with them like we were the Soviet Union, and it's time to realize we've got to do something. Now, there's other breaking news happening right now related to this, and that is Elon Musk, who is venting right now on Twitter about the quote-unquote big, beautiful bill. These are Elon Musk's tweets. I'm sorry, but I just can't stand it anymore. The massive, outrageous, pork-funded congressional spending bill is a disgusting abomination. Shame on those who voted for it. You know you did wrong. You know it. It will massively increase the already gigantic budget deficit of $2.5 trillion and burden American citizens with crushingly unsustainable debt. Congress is making America bankrupt. He then retweets Thomas Massie, who is saying that he is right. We can't take on China with our fiscal house in disarray. The Chinese are building a massive pile of ships and drones, and the United States is getting sclerotic. We're running behind. We're failing to innovate. We're failing to live up to the times. Now, I got to say, everybody who gets involved in Republican politics ultimately winds up disillusioned. Welcome to the party, Elon Musk. Remember the Tea Party? What happened to those people? Many of those people are right now cheering on this big, beautiful bill and its massive expansion of government and the welfare state. This isn't a good setup. This isn't good. This is a bad bill. I'm glad Elon Musk is speaking up, but it is directly related to the story about these Chinese scholars who are coming into the country, because we're in a Cold War with China, and our government doesn't seem to realize it. Our industries don't seem to realize it. You know, we didn't have a massive pile of industries in the United States trying to do business in the Soviet Union. But, I mean, I love Apple. I think Apple's a great company. But Apple moved its entire supply chain over to China. It's slowly starting to divest. And I got to tell you, I personally don't think it's helpful for the president and his administration to be threatening tariffs on Apple if they don't repatriate stuff to this country, while likewise putting tariffs on products that come out of India. It's easier for Apple to move its supply chain to India, which is an ally of ours, than to keep it in China, and they're willing to do that, but the president's now punishing them for doing that. It makes no sense. We don't seem to have any sort of coherence in what we're doing right now, and it is a bipartisan problem. It's a serious bipartisan problem. Now, the other day, the president, just yesterday, said he doesn't intend for us to make socks and sweatshirts and clothing in this country. He wants to make technological products, and I get that, and I share that concern with him. We should be making our weapon systems here, the microchips for our weapon systems and all of that. We can make that here with very little labor. It's mostly computers that do it. But to make an iPhone, it's an intensive, laborious process. You can't make them in this country and make them so that people can buy them. I appreciate that the president says he doesn't want to make socks and sweatshirts in this country. Well, why are we imposing tariffs on Vietnam when that's where we could make them outside of China? All of this stuff seems to be a hodgepodge, and there doesn't seem to be a coherence. And this gets to my larger issue here. We are in a Cold War with China. The Chinese want to stamp us out. The Chinese wish to use our divisions against us. The Chinese are sowing those divisions internally in this country. We got a guy who worked for the Defense Intelligence Agency who was arrested last week for attempting to give, not sell, but give American secrets to another country. It's believed to be China. Why? Because Donald Trump won the election and he's disillusioned with the country. So he wants to go help the communists. A global tariff regime helps the CCP. It's one of the issues that the lower court, the International Court of Trade, found why the tariffs violated the emergency laws of the United States, because they were applied globally. They could have been applied to China had they just been applied to China and Chinese allies, where China flows their products through those countries into our markets. I don't think anybody would really be objecting. I think we need tariffs on China. The president's now saying he's not going to up the 145% tariffs again. He's trying to get Xi Jinping on the phone. But China is a real threat to us. We are a greater threat to ourselves, though, than China. And that's something I think a lot of Americans don't really appreciate. We are a greater threat to ourselves than China ever has been, because our economy is still far more stronger than the Chinese economy. Our economy is far more robust than their economy. Our economy is far more stable than the Chinese economy. Our economy is bigger than the Chinese economy. I wouldn't bet against the United States. But I want to go back to these clips from Jamie Dimon yesterday, the chairman and CEO of J.P. Morgan. He was on Fox News with Maria Bartiromo. He is someone who, when he speaks, everyone, including the president, listens to him.
How much are you focused on debt and deficits right now?
It's a big deal. You know, it is a real problem, but one day we're going to have the bond market's going to have a tough time. I don't know if it's 6 months or 6 years. So I think we have to focus on it. But when you say focus on it, the real focus should be growth, pro-business, proper deregulation, permitting reform, getting rid of blue tape, getting skills in schools, get that growth going. That's the best way. And then reform some of these programs. Everyone knows can be reformed properly. And I think some of the reform can take place. We're not taking benefits out of poor people or sick people or old people. You're just putting rules in place that make it more reasonable, less fraud, less waste, less abuse. So I think all those things need to be done. And then we can conquer that problem.
That was one. Now, one more from Jamie Dimon.
Well, you said something that struck me earlier. We should be stockpiling. What did you say?
I said not bitcoins, but bullets, tanks, missiles. Because you pointed out national security is a critical thing. So the most important thing to me in trade is going to be protecting our own national security. And that's around resilient supply chains for medical ingredients, for anything that goes into our F-35 rare earths, and related. Think of 2 nanocentimeter AI chips, things like that. We say, yeah, this is important for American national security. We need resilient supply chains.
We do. If we're going to repatriate stuff, we should be repatriating the basic supply chains for missiles and bullets. We don't need our missiles and bullets being made overseas, and I think everyone largely agrees on that. But there are ways to do it that I don't know that people in Washington have really considered. This scatter shotgun approach versus a targeted rifle shot's what we're doing. The Chinese are clearly taking these targeted measures to undermine the United States. It's not scattershot. It's very disciplined from China. And I don't see the discipline in Washington, frankly, on either end of Pennsylvania Avenue right now. And that concerns me because the Chinese are very serious about becoming the hegemon of the world. They don't want a two-world state where it is East versus West, United States versus China. They want China to dominate everything. And they're working very, very hard. And I just sometimes think that we need a little more strategic thought as a nation in how we're taking China on. And I think the fact now that we see the Chinese attempted to smuggle an agri-terrorism bioweapon into the United States to destroy crops is, look, first we had COVID, Now we've got this fungus being smuggled into the United States by Chinese Communist Party members. These should be a warning sign for all of us. We've got to get serious as a nation. And I know there are people listening right now, and you think that the left is the greatest enemy and threat to the nation. There are probably people on the left listening right now. They just hate listening, and they hate all of us on the right and think we're the biggest threat. Wake up, everybody. China doesn't care whether you're a Democrat or Republican. China doesn't care whether you're progressive or conservative. China cares that you're an American, and they want to wipe us out. China cares greatly. When I talk to people in Washington and even at the state political levels of what gives them hope, one of the things they often say is that there is probably more unanimity, Republican and Democrat, against China than any other topic. At the leadership levels in both parties, they understand it's the base that's the problem. And there are those on both sides willing to sell. So I was listening to reading this stupid article about that Yavin guy out in San Francisco who's He's now kind of the intellectual philosopher of the right. He's an idiot. He clearly got swirlied when he was in high school, and he's got all sorts of grudges against other people. And he's like, oh, in China you can do all this stuff. China is an example of a great country we should be like. No, China is the enemy. We should not want to be like China. And when you got people like that whispering into the ears of the influential on the right, that's a big red flag too. We got to get serious about taking on the Chinese, y'all. They are serious about taking us on, and no one in Washington seems to be able to recognize just how big the threat is. And part of the proof of that is this bill that they're trying to pass and tell you it's going to solve every problem when all it's going to do is create more problems.
Follow Eric on X, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. Search EW Erickson.
220 Cool Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Police activity still blocking most of Peachtree Boulevard north and southbound at I-285. Use Buford Highway. Traffic brought to you by Summit Racing Equipment. This Father's Day, visit Summit Racing to find great gearhead gifts for dad or give him the perfect card, a Summit Racing gift card. Shop summitracing.com today. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
It's the WSB 5K a day bonus blitz. This hour's keyword is Tuesday. Tuesday. Go to the WSB Radio app or WSBRadio.com/cash for your chance to win. Again, that keyword is Tuesday. Tuesday. Join me live at 3 for the Von Haessler Doctrine, and I'll have your next keyword and chance to win at 5.
Going back to college, I have sent my father Omaha steaks for Father's Day because who doesn't love steak? Dads love steak. A recent survey showed 75% of Americans agree there's no better way than to spend Father's Day than grilling with the family. Dads love to grill. I remember some great memories as a kid of my dad grilling, and now I do. And I get him Omaha Steaks, and you can too. Shop omahasteaks.com and give your dad the legendary Heartland quality he deserves. Plus, my listeners get an extra $35 off when you put Eric in, E-R-I-C-K, as your promo code at checkout. Unbelievable quality from Omaha Steaks. I am a longtime gift giver of Omaha Steaks. My dad loves Omaha Steaks. Your dad will too. Go to omahasteaks.com, load up your cart with deliciousness, get $35 off, minimum order required, when you use promo code Eric at checkout. That's omahasteaks.com. You'll get an extra $35 off with promo code Eric at checkout. Your dad will love you for it.
Comcast Business is celebrating Small Business Month by giving you a $1,000 small business bonus when you switch to a qualifying gig speed package from the company with over 99.99% network reliability. Just imagine the thousands of possibilities of a $1,000 prepaid card. Like possibility number 1. Company merch for staff. Styling. Or possibility number 24, the latest software. Upgrade. Or possibility number 192, new equipment powered by gig speeds. Or possibility number 555, a 3D printer. Rapid prototyping, anyone? Switch to Comcast Business for over 99.99% network reliability, advanced cybersecurity, and now get started with a $1,000 small business bonus. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
And 62225. New customers only with 2-year agreement. Other restrictions apply.
Rates are up, rates are down. Every day it's something different. If you're curious about what's going on and when the best time will be to buy or refinance your home, call the experts I trust at Myland. This is Scott Slade. There's a reason the guys and gals at Myland are able to close loans that other local banks just can't. The folks at Myland are local and somebody you can trust to make sure you get the best loan for your needs at the best rate. You don't have to take my word for it. Here are lines from some recent testimonials. Myland kept me up to date and informed with every step of the way. They make you feel like you're one of the most important clients they have. Myland specializes in home financing, and they've seen it all. So whether you want to access the equity in your home to pay for other debts, buy a new home, or anything else, Myland is the place to call. 770-817-2000. That's 770-817-2000. Or online, it's myland.com. Spelled it M-I-L-E-N-D. NMLS and Georgia Mortgage License C148769. Myland's located at 8995 Westside Parkway, Alpharetta, Georgia 30009. Myland is an equal housing lender.
Your friends at Steel Horse Law are motorcycle injury lawyers who ride. They've mastered safely riding our Georgia roads, and they've mastered the unexpected twists and turns of Georgia law. Hey, it's Eric Von Hessler for Steel Horse Law, the Stein and Karen Law Group. With all the changes in Georgia law, you need the most experienced local motorcycle injury law firm to protect your rights. You can trust them on the road and in the courtroom. Get a free case evaluation at steelhorselaw.com.
Your neighbors won't say what they're thinking, but I will. Your siding is hideous. Dave Baker here for the only siding company I recommend, Nelson Exteriors. Your ugly siding is faded, warped, cracked, rotting, and just falling apart. Nelson will properly install beautiful new siding with unmatched quality and craftsmanship so it lasts and lasts. They're licensed, insured, and a James Hardy Elite Preferred contractor. Count on Nelson for an extraordinary renovation. Google Nelson Exteriors.
All the news, weather, and traffic you need. 95.5 WSB.
Taking the complicated and making it simple. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
Greetings, conversationalist. Bryson DeChambeau was at the White House hitting golf balls with the president on the South Lawn. They mowed it down and formed a putting green area. I want one of those putting green areas in my backyard. My wife and kids for Christmas got me a net for golf and a mat, and I just haven't set it up yet, and I've been meaning to. And today may be the day. I may have to go home and hit golf balls because it's my birthday. I get to do that. I should get to do that. And then they're taking me for pizza and birthday cake. It should be a fun time. We've got more that we've got to get to, including this piece by Ben Domenech on the future of the Democratic Party that I'm actually kind of fascinated by. I think you will be too. But first, you need to know the Senate may take up new Russia sanctions legislation this month. There appears to be support in the House and the Senate with veto-proof margins. More than 80 senators, Senator John Thune is telling reporters, and the White House appears to be really frustrated with the Russians, less so with the Ukrainians right now. According to John Thune, quote, that would have a big impact, but obviously we're working with the White House to try to ensure that what we do and when we do it works well with the negotiations they've got underway. Senators in both parties are increasingly frustrated with the delay, with several Republicans saying recently they do not want to wait for the White House's green light at this point. The crippling secondary sanctions on Russia's trading partners, they argue, could be used by Trump as negotiating leverage to force Putin's hand on ending the war in Ukraine. The Trump administration, Thune added, is still hopeful they'll be able to strike some sort of deal. But as you might expect, there's a high level of interest in the Senate on both sides of the island moving on it. And it may very well be something we could take up in the work period coming up. That would be good if they could. The House, by the way, you need to know there appears to be a veto-proof margin in the House as well for additional sanctions on the Russians, which would not be a bad thing to happen. It's time to push the Russians on this. We've pushed the Ukrainians. Now let's push the Russians on this. All right, I got to tell you about Americans for Prosperity. They're a group. I'm on their board of advisors, and we're trying to mobilize conservatives around the country to be more active in pushing common sense conservative reforms, to stay engaged in the process, to down to the local level, pursue ideas that are supported by conservatives, that support families and small businesses and individuals like school choice. Right now, AFP really wants to get involved in helping the president get his tax plan passed. In fact, they're committed to a $400 million ad buy around the country targeting wayward Republican senators on this. They'd love to get you involved. If you could go to protectprosperity.com today, Americans for Prosperity would love to have you. That's protectprosperity.com. Sign up with AFP. They'll teach you how to be great activists, how to go door to door, how to reach out to members of your community, explain what's going on, go to your state and local governments, even talk to your members of Congress and get into a network of concerned American conservatives who care about the future of the country. Go to protectprosperity.com today. That's protectprosperity.com. Sign up, get engaged, advance common sense conservative solutions nationwide.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
At 2:30, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top local story. It's all new this half hour. A 15-year-old boy is dead after a hit and run in Newton County. Investigators say the boy was hit while walking on Highway 36 last night around 10:30. When deputies arrived, they found him dead in the road. Evidence located at the scene indicates the suspect's vehicle is pearl white. Anyone with information should contact the Newton County Sheriff's Office. The man accused of shooting and killing a Roswell police officer earlier this year enters a plea of not guilty in Fulton County Superior Court today. Edward Espinoza faces 4 charges, including felony murder and aggravated assault in the death of Officer Jeremy Labonte. Labonte was responding to a suspicious person call outside Ace Pickleball Club in February when he was shot multiple times. Espinoza was arrested shortly after the shooting. After more than 6 decades, Atlanta Motor Speedway will now be called Echo Park Speedway. At today's name-changing ceremony, Governor Kemp says it's a big win for Georgia.
To me, today is just another feather in our cap, if you will, when you think about the great sports mecca that the state of Georgia is becoming. Obviously, this raceway is a big part of that.
It's a 7-year, multi-million-dollar agreement. The Speedway in Hampton is home to 2 NASCAR races a year, including the upcoming June 28th race. One day, Parkinson's may be detected by the stroke of a pen using AI.
Biomedical engineers created a self-powered pen with magnetic ink that can analyze handwriting, reflecting motor control and tracking coordination. AI models then were able to distinguish between those who had Parkinson's disease and those who didn't with 96% accuracy.
Sherry Preston reports the study was small, so more studies are needed. It is now 2:32. This news sponsored by FGA Roofing.
Dave Baker here for Ben Hill Renovations. I know what's important to you when you're looking for a new deck. You want the work done with quality workmanship, on time, within your budget, and built correctly. Getting a new deck from Ben Hill Renovations checks all the boxes. And when it comes to new decks, pretty much anything you can imagine, Ben Hill can do. And they're all backed by the Ben Hill Workmanship Warranty. Swing by the new Ben Hill Renovations showroom in Douglasville and talk to one of their designers, or see them on the web at bhrenovations.com. Ben Hill Renovations, creating raving fans since 1964.
Hi, it's Wes Moss. May's mayhem is behind us, and June is in full bloom. Spring brings milestones like graduations, weddings, and even new homes. It's also a time when you might be thinking about retirement. If that's you, visit our team at Capital Investment Advisors. We'll work with you to craft an income-focused portfolio designed to deliver a reliable paycheck in retirement. Get started at yourwealth.com. That's Y-O-U-R wealth.com.
With thousands of 5-star reviews, it's no wonder CertaPro Painters is Greater Atlanta's most preferred painting company. Hear from one of their happy customers.
We wanted to add some color to our walls, so we hired CertaPro. We had built-in shelves that were supposed to be ready to paint when they got there, which they were not. CertaPro spent hours caulking and sanding to make sure the job was done right. It's rare to find a crew with integrity who really take pride in their work.
When choosing a painting professional, choose happy. Choose CertaPro Painters.
Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated.
Hey y'all, Belinda Skelton for Four Seasons Home Care, and I'm not going to cry in this commercial, I hope. As many of you know, I lost both my parents recently, but I am so thankful they were able to finish their lives at home where they wanted to be. It's all because of the incredible caregivers who came to see them every day. I am so grateful to Four Seasons Home Care. This is a real family-owned company that vets and hires every single one of their caregiving specialists. They don't have contractors. They're not some national corporation. They are simply the best here in Georgia. And a lot of you have asked me about my journey and if home care is right for your aging parents. I'll tell you what I tell them. Call Four Seasons Home Care and just start the conversation. It's a 100% free call that can change everything. Google Four Seasons Home Care Atlanta. That's Four Seasons Home Care Atlanta.
At 2:34, Alex Williams in the traffic center.
New crash in DeKalb County, I-20 westbound, Candler Road exit 65. Looks like about 3 center lanes are blocked. Wouldn't suggest an alternate just yet. And police activity still there on Peachtree Boulevard southbound at I-285. Only the right shoulder is open. You can use Buford Highway. Northbound lanes have reopened there as well. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Mostly sunny and hazy today, high 86.
We could see the return of a few rain showers tomorrow afternoon. Right now it's 82 in Lawrenceville, 83 in Conyers, also 83 right now in McDonough. More news at 3 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Bill Caiaccio, 95.5 WSB.
He's got the courage to tell you the truth, because the truth is what matters. You're listening to The Eric Erickson Show.
Greetings. Welcome. I hope you're doing well. The phone number is 877-973-7425 should you wish to be on the program. Very weird. New York Times ran a story, the headline this morning, American Jews are paying for the war in Gaza. And they changed it without an editor's note to Jews are afraid right now. By the way, you want to know what NBC News' key takeaway to the terror attack in Boulder was? I wish I was making that up. This is actually the headline at NBC News. Lone wolf attack on Jewish Americans in Boulder and Washington, D.C. highlight the difficulties in securing public spaces. That's it. Lone wolf attacks make it difficult to secure public spaces, as opposed to left-wing anti-Semites are gunning people down across the country. Seems to me that would be a bigger deal there. Now, I gotta move on to the story. I want this on the record. I want you all to know that I actually wish the best for the Democratic Party, and I need you to understand why. I believe in competition. There's a story circulating right now on Twitter. It has gone viral about a man on hold with the IRS. For 66 minutes, he has been on hold. 86 minutes, he tweets 2 hours ago. 2 hours, he tweets an hour ago. And then he says, I just got a message that said, please try again later, and they disconnected me. I called back. Thankfully, this time they told me up front they wouldn't even put me in a hold queue because they're too busy. Please try back the next business day. That's a real monopoly. That's what a monopoly is like. And if either party gets a monopoly in American politics, we're all going to be screwed. I wish the Democratic Party will reform itself, because the Republican Party needs a competitor. Both parties need competitors. Look at California. Look at Texas for the GOP. California for the Democrats, Texas for the GOP. The parties get corrupt. The parties start behaving in odd manners. They start doing things that are not necessarily great for the people, although Texas is far outperforming California in what they're doing. But the infighting within the Texas Republican Party is absurd. And one of the things that's happened with the Texas Republican Party is that Democrats have tried to co-opt the Republican Party in Texas. You've got a Speaker of the House in Texas now who actually got there, even though he's a Republican, with the votes of the Democrats and is regularly defying what the Republicans want. The Republican Party in Texas, frankly, got so good at its game, it kind of let things slip. And in the process, the ground game to be able to pick some of these people off wasn't good. The Governor Abbott, to his credit, has fired up his operation to try to beat these guys in primaries. And he's been pretty successful at it to try to reform the Republican Party from within. In California, the Democrats have not reformed themselves. They're a one-party state. It is deeply corrupt, deeply hostile to business, and there is an exodus of people from California. Both parties need competition. I was listening to the former Republican chairman of California saying the reason Republicans from California are so good at talking to people is because they live in a one-party state against them, and they've got to be able to explain their ideas in a way that resonate across party lines, and there is something to that. I want the Democratic Party to get out of its madness. Ben Domenech is the editor-at-large for The Spectator. I would not be doing what I'm doing in life right now but for Ben. And he writes this piece, who can bring the Democrats together by 2028? Their fundamental problem is they've gone too far left. Why is the Democratic Party viewed as toxic by so many? Even people inside the party acknowledge that. Journalist Tara Palmieri recently asked the Democratic senator from Pennsylvania on her ominously titled Somebody's Gotta Win podcast. John Fetterman's answer was blunt. I think their primary currency was shaming and scolding and talking down to people and telling them, hey, I know better than you, or you're dopes, or you are a bro, or you're ignorant, or you know it, don't you? Do you know, how can you be this dumb? I can't imagine it. And then, by the way, they're fascists. How can you vote for that? When you're in a state like Pennsylvania, I know and I love people that voted for Trump, and they're not fascist. For decades, Democrats deployed the "our enemies are evil" rhetoric. They demonized Bush Hitler. They suggested John McCain was an unhinged warmonger. They framed Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan as people who wanted to push wheelchair-bound grandmas off cliffs. This was accepted as mere campaign hyperbole by most Americans, extreme language that could be cast aside as soon as the presidential opponent left the stage. Sure, Joe Biden may have said Romney was going to put black people back in chains, but nobody believed he meant it. These days, it's very different. Trump's return was heralded as a dangerous fascistic triumph, not just by those in remote corners of the internet or progressives who attempt to convince people of their opinion by writing messages on cardboard and carrying them around on streets, but by major publications like The Atlantic and members of Congress themselves. Such language has a demonstrable negative social effect. A recent poll suggests that a large majority of self-identified liberals report ending relationships with those who support Donald Trump, and the lost friends problem is worst among the Democratic strongest voting cohort, college-educated women. With this great coming apart, it's no wonder Democrats are struggling to find a candidate for 2028 who can champion their values while bridging the political divide. The political wilderness has raised a host of critics, not just Fetterman, but Barack Obama's former chief of staff, Rahm Emanuel, who described the Democratic brand to the Wall Street Journal as toxic and weak and woke. As popular radio host Charlemagne the God put it, if the Democrats make it a class issue, they win this next election. But they're afraid to do that because a lot of them are in the pockets of the billionaire class and the corporations, so they make it about identity politics. Billionaire Mark Cuban, sometimes touted as the left's answer to Trump, had an equally gloomy prognosis. If you gave the Democrats a dollar bill and said, you can sell these for 50 cents, they would hire 50 people, and they would not know how to sell the dollar bill for 50 cents. I've learned Democrats can't sell worth, well, poop, I'll say it. The problem with that Mark Cuban quote is that Mark Cuban thinks it's the message. It's just the message, not the policies. Y'all, the Democratic Party is so tied to the progressive left in America, they're getting rejected culturally. Should boys be in girls' sports? The number one issue, it's not people's number one issue. But when they get in the voting booth, you know that Donald Trump ad resonated so well. Kamala Harris is for they, them, Donald Trump's for you. The willingness of the Democratic Party to anchor itself to the mutilation of children and to deny that it's happening and to put pornography in elementary schools and then deny that it's happening, and then when you expose it to them, call you a pervert for showing it to you. It's a real problem that people understand. People get this. Remember in Florida, the Don't Say Gay legislation? It wasn't called Don't Say Gay. That's what the media called it because that's what the left told the media to call it. And it turned out that even a majority of Democrats supported the notion that you shouldn't be teaching sex education to kids at least before 4th grade, which is what the law said. There were Republicans who said this should be 6th, 7th, 8th, or 9th grade, not 4th grade. But DeSantis steered a pretty moderate course that was popular with the majority of voters, black, white, male, female, Democrat, and Republican. It was the National Press Corps, Disney, and progressive activists who called it the Don't Say Gay bill, lied about it, and said it was going to shut people up about gays. Wasn't true at all. The Democratic Party is so aligned with insanity right now. It is, in the words of Rahm Emanuel, toxic, weak, and woke. So for those of you listening on the Democratic side, and I know there are those of you who are listening, even hate listening, do you believe boys should be in girls' sports? Most of you will say no. And those of you on the left will rationalize it. No, boys should not be in girls' sports. But trans girls, we should allow them. The problem is, hiding behind your euphemism is a boy. And you can say the boy isn't a boy, but everybody knows the boy is a boy. Your willingness to change words to try to win the argument is mendacious, and it's fairly well rejected by the American public. The American public simply is tired of a Democratic Party that has gone insane, that can't laugh at itself. You know, Bill Clinton could go on Arsenio Hall back in the day. He could tell jokes about himself. He could mock himself. He could make jokes about going to Burger King or McDonald's. He really liked the McDonald's across from the White House. But he can make jokes about himself. He can make jokes about himself and women. Bill Clinton could do that, and he could laugh. Democrats can't take a joke now. So, you know, I'm doing this thing on stage at the Fox Theater, the Not Safe for Radio show, telling stories about my life. Some things I can't say on radio. Mostly my parents would be horrified by the stories, but there is some language in some cases that you can't say on radio, but some of it is necessary to the stories to be told. Everybody's going to have their cell phone taken. Don't want some woke progressive coming in trying to get me canceled for saying something that 99.9% of the crowd laughs at, but this one angry scold decides is worth getting you canceled for. My son is 16 years old, and he's gotten into racial and ethnic humor. He's a 16-year-old boy. It's what you can expect. And I was lecturing him the other day, saying, you know, Gunnar, okay, these jokes are funny, but you have to understand the audience. He's like, I totally get that, Dad. He's like, I'm not stupid. He says, I'm not racist. I find the jokes very funny, in large part because so many people get shocked by them. He's a 16-year-old boy. He's telling very funny jokes that shock people. I have heard Holocaust jokes. I've heard racial jokes. I've heard lots of jokes about white dudes as well. And you know, the irony here is that I could tell you all the jokes he said about white people and none of you would complain. But if I told one of the Holocaust jokes or one of the racial humor jokes, there would be people who would be beating down the door to have me canceled for doing so. And they would all be progressives who are horrified that I told a joke like my son told me in the privacy of a car where no one was listening. They're horrified right now knowing that my son told that joke. And that's the point, is that they can't allow people to be people. It is their way or it is no way, and you have to conform your life to them. It's why there's a resurgence in people saying words you're not supposed to say, like the word for when you're 30 foot above a runway. Did you know this? I've explained this to you before. When you're on an Airbus jet and you're 30 feet above the runway, it says the French word for slow down, retard, retard. But you're not supposed to say the American version of that word anymore because everyone's like, oh, horrified, horrified. And I get it. I've got a friend who's got his son has severe special needs. And I retweeted someone who had used that word. He's like, man, I get it, but this is my kid. I understand the sensitivities. I do. but there's a resurgence in that word and others right now as pushback against the censorious nature of the left. And they can't figure out as a party, the Democrats can't, how to push those censorious agents out of the party so that the party can actually battle ideas. There's actually a big story in Politico today about the Democratic Party having a new think tank started, and the whole idea is to figure out if there's an 80-20 issue, how do we be on the side of the 80%? And they're already running into a problem. Why? Because 80% of Americans support the idea of immediate deportation of those who are either convicted of a crime or accused credibly of a crime, and the Democratic Party can't bring themselves to be on the 80% side of that issue. These people need to figure out how to get their act together, not because I want the Democrats to win, because I don't, but I want the Republicans to keep winning. And for the Republicans to keep winning, they can't get lazy. And they get lazy when the party on the other side is full of a bunch of people 30 feet above a runway who can't take a joke. Now, I got to tell you about the Eden Pure Thunderstorm, because it, my friends, is a fantastic little device that you can hold in your hand, and it wipes out dust, it wipes out pollen, it wipes out smoke, it wipes out mildew and mold spores floating in the air. It kills 99.9% of bacteria and viruses that flow through it, and it eliminates all odors because it generates ozone, and ozone latches onto the particles of odors and neutralizes them. The Eden Pure Thunderstorm, you can get 3 of them for less than $200 by going to EdenPureDeals.com, and you put in the discount code ERIC3, ERICK3. You can hold this thing in your hand. You can plug it into a wall. You can plug it up with a USB cord. I have done this. Powered it off my computer in a car one time that didn't have a USB outlet. I've also powered it in a car that did have a USB outlet because it was a rental car, and someone had smoked in it, and it stunk to high heaven, and I fired up the Eden Pure Thunderstorm because it's small. I kept it in my travel bag. I travel with it, and it wiped out the smoke odors. The car smelled brand new. You can do it too. You can get 3 of them for your upstairs, your downstairs, your basement, your travel bag, your RV, wherever you need them. Highly portable, very small, packs a wallop. EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code, ERIC3. Again, Eden like the Garden of Eden, pure as the driven snow. EdenPureDeals.com. Discount code ERIC, ERICK, the number 3.
You're at the intersection of politics, news, culture, and current events. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
250 Coolray Carrier WSB 24-hour traffic center. Crash still working the cab. I-20 westbound, Candler Road, exit 65. Multiple center lanes are blocked. Luckily, delays not too bad, so no alternate needed. And still trying to clear up this police activity in Doraville, shutting down most of Peachtree Boulevard southbound at 285. If you want to avoid it, you can use Buford Highway. Traffic brought to you by the Georgia Lottery. Tonight's Mega Millions jackpot is $202 million. Now with bigger jackpots, better odds, and a built-in multiplier. Drawings every Tuesday and Friday. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Listening to 95.5 WSB pays.
No way! The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz.
That is awesome. 5 chances a day to win $5,000.
Download the WSB app. Your next chance to win is coming up at 5 p.m.
Oh my God.
From 95.5 WSB.
If you've been taught that all bread is unhealthy, I'm here to tell you not if it's real bread. Hi, I'm Sue Becker from Bread Beckers with Sue's Healthy Minute. If you're struggling with weight gain, high cholesterol, constipation, even warts, or kids who seem to be constantly sick, come visit us at the Bread Becker store in Woodstock, where we have taught thousands of customers that real bread might be their healthy solution. I have a degree in food science, and for more than 30 years, I've studied the incredible health benefits of real whole grains and bread. I discovered that store-bought bread has had most of the nutrients in the grain removed during milling, and yes, even packages labeled 100% whole wheat. Make a healthy eating change in your life at Bread Beckers in Woodstock. We'll show you how bread, but only real bread, might be the answer to your family's physical ills. The Bread Beckers. Visit breadbeckers.com or our Bread Beckers store in Woodstock.
Hey, it's Shelley Winter here. Ladies and gentlemen, you know, the other night I was snoring so bad, I was tossing and turning, and AMAC, the lawyer, came to me and said, honey, why don't you get a CPAP machine? I said, a CPAP machine? Then I can't roll over and kiss you in the middle of the night. I'm not doing that. You know what I did? I went to PalmettoSleep.com. There is an alternative to CPAP machines. It's oral appliance therapy. It's a great alternative to that bulky CPAP. You don't have to spend a night in a sleep lab. None of that happens with PalmettoSleep.com. They can arrange for an at-home sleep test in the comfort of your own bed. Ladies and gentlemen, I need you to go to PalmettoSleep.com right now and sign up, because if you can't sleep at night, you have a terrible day the next day, and nobody wants that. I know I don't like it when it happens to me, so I went to PalmettoSleep.com. Go to PalmettoSleep.com and get rid of that CPAP machine.
WSB Atlanta, WSB BFM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. By wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers right away. If you're testing your blood sugar 4 or more times per day, injecting insulin 3 or more times per day, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetic Health Hotline today and learn about the latest CGM technology. A CGM can immediately reduce pain. It's accurate, easy to use, and helps you make better diabetes treatment decisions. And if you have Medicare, you can get a new CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. Plus, get free shipping, and we'll bill your insurance company for you. Call now to receive your new continuous glucose monitor at little or no out-of-pocket cost.
Paid for by U.S. Medical Supply.
Call 800-611-6638. That's 800-611-6638. Again, 800-611-6638. That's 800-611-6638.
Your non-stop news source. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Giving you the truth, not the talking points. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. So there is a story in the New York Times that Palantir has been recruited by the Trump administration to compile data on Americans. In March, President Trump signed an executive order calling for the federal government to share data across agencies, raising questions over whether he might compile a master list of personal information on Americans that could give him untold surveillance power. Mr. Trump has not publicly talked about the effort since, but behind the scenes, officials have quietly put technological building blocks in place to enable his plan. In particular, they have turned to one company, Palantir, the data analysis and technology firm. The Trump administration has expanded Palantir's work across the federal government in recent months. The company's received more than $113 million in federal government spending since Mr. Trump took office, according to public records, including additional funds from existing contracts as well as new contracts with the Department of Homeland Security and the Pentagon. This does not include a $795 million contract the Department of Defense awarded last week, which has not been spent. Now, here's what you should know. Palantir is releasing a statement on this story saying, quote, the recently published article by the New York Times is blatantly untrue. Palantir never collects data to unlawfully surveil Americans, and our Foundry platform employs granular security protections. If the facts were on its side, the New York Times would not have needed to twist the truth. That being said, I would point out that what Palantir is saying is it never collects data to unlawfully surveil Americans. And a lot of people are pointing out that's kind of a weaselly word, because if the President of the United States sounds the order, it's no longer unlawful. It does appear, in fact, that the Palantir is being charged with compiling a massive federal database that unites all federal agency department information to make it easily searchable by all agencies. Now, guns are not in there. There's no gun database for the United States, thank goodness. But could you imagine the dangers of compiling each of these individual department databases of Americans together into one for a whole picture. It's one of the inefficiencies of government. That's an inefficiency by design. We keep the IRS information separate from the Treasury Department, other information, separate from the State Department information, separate from the Homeland Security information, separate from the commerce information, to avoid the government being able to snoop too far into Americans because of privacy concerns. So I really genuinely do understand the privacy concerns of the people who are deeply outraged by the direction this could go. I'm amazed by Palantir as a company, though. I got to tell you, it's a very impressive company. And the extent to which it's able to process data and help us combat our enemies is great. But I don't think we need to turn this on us as American citizens, and we should keep an eye on it to see what actually pans out here. All right. Talk to you guys tomorrow. Have a great rest of the day.
WSB consumer expert Clark Howard.
Okay, I need you to have a conversation with your parents because there's a clear trend over the last 3 months where people are panic claiming Social Security at much younger ages than I recommend. That normally people get full Social Security claiming about age 67, and you get the most money if you wait to age 70. But there's been so much talk about whether Social Security is going to be solvent and all the rest that people are saying, well, I better get what I can get right now, and they're claiming really early. And the reason I don't want your parents doing this is that if they do that, it means they get a much smaller check for the rest of their lives. There's no do-over for this. So chill. Social Security's gonna be there. I'm Clark Howard.
News,
weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
At 3 o'clock, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top local story. It's new information about a deadly Newton County hit and run. WSB's Steve Summers reports live with clues police hope will lead them to the driver.
Yeah, Bill, it happened about 10:30 last night on Highway 36 near Hummingbird Lane, just south of Covington. That's where deputies found the body of a 15-year-old boy. The boy was crossing the street on foot when he got hit and died at the scene. The driver kept going, but Sheriff's Office Communications Director Caitlin Jett says he or she left an important clue.